Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Town of Rhinebeck Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for July 16th, 2025. I see that we have a quorum. We have 3 of us, which is good, so we can do business tonight. Did everybody have a chance to take a look at the proposed June 18th meeting minutes?
Yes.
I looked at them. I didn't see any corrections or concerns or anything like that. Okay, so I'll make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes as presented for the meeting of June 18th. Do I have a second? Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I don't think we have any announcements, do we? Of any sort? I see that's a kind of an agenda item. All right. So, we have a bunch of things on, and we'll try to move things along as quickly as possible. We have 3 new applications. The first one is by a person named Staley, who has a use variance application. So Nick, if you come up, and you've been through this before with the other application, which is on later on. So if you just state your name, give a brief outline of what you're asking, proposing. I know we have a pretty good idea, but the public needs to know, and we need to get a record together. So if you just do that.
Thanks, Scott. My name is Homer Knickerbocker Staley Jr. Everybody calls me Nick, thank God. Dad was Homer. At any rate, I'm applying for a use variance on my real estate office and apartment building at the Cloverleaf of 9G and 308. It now has a land use of 210, which is 1 family residential. After Dad passed in '93, I applied and got a permit to make an apartment at that building. And I have a CO that was granted for me to add that apartment, another kitchen and another bath from 1997, so 28 years ago. I believe this property was changed from a 1-family to a multi-unit building. So because of the other situation that we have at a later time in front of the ZBA, the ZBA asked me to change the use.
We were asking what you were doing because it was unclear whether you wanted to have an interpretation done from what Brian did, and that's later on.
I misunderstood.
And then we said, is it a use variance or is it an interpretation? What are we doing here? So you kind of have both. You have the application that's later on, and now this use variance.
So all I want is the municipal records to be corrected that this is not a single family, 1-family residential building anymore. It hasn't been for 28 years.
Okay, and so you submitted the use variance because, okay. And then we also have the interpretation that we're dealing with because of the new limited occupancy law that was passed by the town board. And that's really the beginning of this whole thing with the trailer, whatever, for lack of a better term.
Right.
RV being utilized as an Airbnb in summer kind of thing.
That's correct. Yes.
And behind writing the letters saying it runs afoul of the new law for various reasons.
Right. And the later thing is I'm asking for a variance on 2 different parts of the zone.
I see that you put in the application. There's not a lot of information. We'll accept it, but there's not a lot of information on the use variance situation, which is...
My position is the use variance was, I have a CO for the use variance in 1997.
For the apartment. The CO granted the apartment, correct?
But that should have changed from a single family residential. That's not what it is.
But
it wasn't.
The purpose of the application is to use the RV on site for short-term rental?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
yes. I just want to clarify.
Yes,
yeah.
The ZBA asked me to go for a use variance.
No, we were trying to figure out what you were doing,
okay,
whether
right.
it was...
All right, whatever,
you want to use the RV that's on your property to continue The
Right.
Airbnb.
This
You
is
were
my,
just-
this is my third year, yes.
Okay,
I wanna
and
be-
yeah, you applied for a short-term rental permit and got denied.
That's correct.
Yes, okay.
And then I asked for a variance for those two zoning laws. One that says it has to be your principal residence,
Principal residence.
and the
okay,
other one
yeah.
says you can have an RV, but you can't use it.
Okay, understood.
Well, for those purposes. All right. Kim, if I could just get your input on the use variance application and whether we should accept it or not. I mean, I know
Sorry.
there's a lot of information from the other applications.
Yeah, so with the use variance, as you know, with an area variance, it's ultimately a balancing test between the benefit to the applicant against the detriment to the nearby communities, and there's those 5 factors that you ultimately balance. With a use variance, it's a little different, and instead of an ultimate balancing test where, you know, you can meet some criteria and not, you have to be able to show the following, that the applicant can't realize a reasonable return without the granting of the use variance, and you have to show that with dollars and cents. You have to say that the alleged hardship is unique and does not apply to other areas in the district, that the use variance, if granted, would not alter the essential character, and the alleged hardship has not been self-created. Mr. Staley filled out the application. Some of the questions have been answered, some of them have been marked an A, but we have the information. I don't think there's any further information we really need from Mr. Staley.
Especially given the prior application, which had a lot of information.
Yes.
So with that said, I'll make a motion that we accept the application for the use variance. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. So we'll put this down for public hearing July,
It's in July.
or I mean,
No,
August
August.
20th. August 20th. August 20th.
Thank you very much.
Will you be here? You're going to run?
Yes, I will.
Okay. So we'll see you then. Should we sign that out to somebody?
August 20th.
Go through the,
Yeah, so this should be referred out to the Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board, and it should also be referred out to the Dutchess County Planning Board, because it's for a use variance for a commercial purpose, that being the Airbnb.
and it's an unlisted matter for seekers.
Well, actually, I was looking a little bit further into this today. There is actually a type 2 action, and we'll discuss that also with the Napolitano case. One of the type 2 actions is replacement, rehabilitation, or reconstruction of a structure or facility in kind. Meaning that the structure is already there and the use is already, you're not really changing the use into it. Legally or not, which is the question that's before you, but you're not changing what the use is currently going. So in terms of the spirit of seeker, which is to determine if there's any environmental impacts, I think it is a type 2 action because I don't think there would be any environmental impacts, and it really is just a rehabilitation of the structure in kind.
And is there a section under,
Are we talking Stanley or Napolitano?
no, we're
Right
talking
now, we're talking about state.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
but.
I was just saying that we'll
section.
be talking about
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So it's 617.5C2.
Okay, I think that's fair. And I'll adopt our, unless you guys have any thoughts on the matter, I think it makes sense what Kim says as far as it being a type 2 matter under seeker in that section. Should we roll with that?
I agree.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we accept the application, we mark it as a type 2 action under 617.5C2. And that's all we have to do with that. We've gone over the referrals. I guess,
The second one's good.
huh?
The second.
Oh, second, I'm sorry.
Second.
I
Okay.
second, yeah, okay.
You second? Okay. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Who was, do we know who was on for the other application? Who was assigned to it? The other Staley application? Maybe that should be consistent, I guess.
Who was the
Point person, yeah.
Might have been you, Scott.
Could have been.
Or maybe, I don't know.
sure they did. I'm not
Should
sure.
I get
Joe?
Joe, okay, well, Joe's not here, so Joe's gonna get it.
Joe volunteered.
He did. What happens in this
And
case?
so again, you know, with the use variance, you know, we haven't really dealt with that too much. There's a really nice Department of State guidance documents. I'll circulate that to the board. And Mr. Staley can provide that to you if you're interested, just so that you can kind of
Yeah.
see what the board's gonna be looking for.
Okay. That's a good idea. All right, thank you. Okay, so that's new application one. The next new application is Arch Care at Ferncliff, and I'm sure somebody is here for that.
I am.
You
Scott,
are.
how are you?
Good to see
Well,
you.
good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
My name's Paul Bikert. I'm from Timely Signs, and I'm representing our client, Arch Care. And we've got an application. To be honest with you, I cannot remember. We were here, I think last year, to get a freestanding sign
Yeah.
for the main sign at roadside. It may have been an oversight on our client's part, or perhaps ours. When Arch Care did the rebrand, all of the signs that were permitted, I believe that they were permitted back in 2003 or 2000.
It was a long time ago.
A long time ago. Yeah, and then they did a rebrand. We went ahead and did it. They were replaced. The square footage was the same, but apparently, you know, we won't go into a lot of detail, but none of the inner campus signage had been properly permitted by our client or by us, for that matter. I don't know if it was an oversight. Essentially, Brian Tam went to go look at an application for a new, I don't know much about it, but they have a new tenant on this site. And he had written up a violation for a number of signs. A lot of these are directional signs that get people into the site. I mean, most of them are directional and no parking signs. They don't really brand in any way. I mean, there are branding on them and they're the colors. They're more of a functional sign, but we've been asked to go through the process of getting a variance and paying permit fees, et cetera, in order to have these signs. That's at the split.
Yeah, go back,
Yeah.
sorry, just while you were talking.
Oh, sure, yeah, you know, I don't know if anyone can see that, you can probably see behind me rather than through me. Sure.
Did you say Arch Care has an tenant?
Apparently there is an organization that is, like I said, I didn't do the signage for that, I don't know what it
Okay,
is.
but this has nothing to do with that.
There's nothing to do with that. During his review of the property, he's holding up the approval and permit for that because of the non-compliance for the tenant.
These other.
Yeah. So they've been without a sign, and I don't even think it's a sign, I think it's some lettering on an awning, an entry awning, that would allow visitors to the site that are not there for Archcliffe to see that there's, and I believe it's a child care center. So there's some confusion, and we're trying to remedy the situation.
Okay, is it just the 9 signs over here?
It's 11 signs.
11, okay, so it's the other two.
So these total 9. So 5.
And then there's a logo on the canopy. of
Yeah,
the
so
building.
there's 5 of the please drive slowly, if you see.
There was a square footage,
Yeah.
there's a square
You
footage,
see,
I'm not sure.
it says 5 times.
Yeah.
So there's 2 of the ambulance parking and 2 of the resident pickup drop off.
Mhm.
And then there's this directional sign.
Yes, that's for people to turn left toward the center as opposed to continuing on to the private areas where the.
And here's another.
Right, that's at the roundabout, there's a split where you would go to the right. I've never been given this site plan of this, but these are all like essentially traffic control to get people to the right parking spaces to get into the building.
A private area
Private
that's
area.
used publicly.
Yeah, I mean, the public does come here to visit friends, family. A lot of this is more of a functional aspect. Typically, signs like this in most municipalities are not required to have permits because they're directional in nature. Just like a no parking sign, these types of things.
So you did the arts care that's, let's say, on the road.
Yeah. The only one that's
And
visible
then
to the public.
after the fact, you found out that there's somewhere between 9 and 12 additional ones
Mhm.
that are not compliant.
Well, it's because because Arch Care is in a residential zone, the signing law says that you can have, when you have a commercial use, permitted commercial use in a residential zone, you can have one sign measuring 8 square feet. So they have the one that's by the road, which they were in for last year or 2 years ago. And
This is the second
then
time
all
they
of
did
these
this, I remember the
signs
first time.
count as signage for the road, so that's why they need a variance.
So
Well, let's also, I want to make a distinction. The 8 square feet, if the sign is double-sided,
Yes, it's 8 square feet.
Total.
Total.
so the interpretation of the 8 square feet is you're allowed 4 square feet
For
per
a
side.
double-sided.
So,
I've seen mailboxes bigger than that. so.
so
Okay, we go on the sign thing.
I know.
That's my thing. It's gotta be changed, but whatever. We're dealing with what we're dealing with.
Yeah, and you know, we're being compliant, we're gonna pay the variance fees, we'll pay the sign permit fees. I know this is a procedural in nature, and I don't, it took a little while for Arch Care to respond. We've got the paperwork in place, and we're just looking to come to a resolution on this.
Were these signs changed at the time that we granted the variance on the sign that's out by River Road?
Yes, they were.
Okay.
They were. It was my understanding that these permits were in place, and we replaced them with more durable versions of what used to be a wood signs that were deteriorating. They were about 15 to 16 years old. They came in with more of an aluminum and you had maintenance-free option to save and find money. And maybe I was naive thinking that an existing permit would just replace like for like as long as it was the same size. So regardless, I mean, we went through that process, we got the variance, we paid the sign permit fee, and so we're here to do the rest of the signs.
So were these signs done already?
They've been in place since
Since the last
a year and a half.
Right, so they're all,
And they basically, there were
They're
prior
directional.
signs that were there.
they're
And
parking.
I know the directional, but we have to deal with it.
Yeah, it
Just
is.
like we did- Just with Ruby, like we did with Ruby.
Yeah.
It was the same kind of thing, for right or wrong.
Right.
All right. But these signs that we're talking about here, were they in place beforehand and then you made the change to the new design?
When they say beforehand, the pre-existing signs that we replaced, because they were past their useful lifespan, were replaced with identical, I won't say identical, because the previous signs had a white background with red text, and the branding had changed. But essentially, in terms of the square footage and size of everything, they were essentially identical.
And in the same
And,
place.
and exactly the same position. So there was really not a lot of change, other than Arch Care updated their logo and their color standards.
And no increase in size or anything
No,
like that?
no. Well, I mean, we specifically try to keep them exactly the same size. Yeah. And again, we're here to just see whether the variant, you guys can make a determination that this variance should move forward.
Right, and the application.
That's really all.
And whoever's here for first time on, what we do here is first take a look at the application and see if we have enough in order to accept it and then have a public hearing. So that's what you're here for these, just to see if we have enough information, which I think we do. I mean, it's a pretty simple matter, and we know what we're dealing with, so.
Let's accept.
Okay, you okay with that? All right. So I make a motion that we accept the application. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right,
Are
so-
there any more signs anywhere on that property that you may or may not be aware of?
I've had family members there for years, but none currently. I'll swing by. But this is all that I know that we have installed. If there's any other tenants that the Arch Care organization has taken on or leased space to, I can make contact with the diocese and say, first I'm going to go over and see. And if there's any question, I will certainly contact them before the next meeting and report back. Fair enough?
That's
Fair
something
enough.
lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you available on the 20th of August?
Sure.
Okay. Sometimes people are away, so that's when the public hearing will be set for.
Absolutely.
All right.
We'll be here or represent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. You'll take this one? Yes. So,
So it should be a type 2 action under
Right.
617.5.
installation of traffic control.
Which is
Traffic
installation
control
of
devices,
traffic.
yeah. So I'll make a motion that we accept it as a type 2 action, number 617.522, installation of traffic control devices. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All righty. So we'll do that, and
And,
refer to the planning board, obviously.
Also to Dutchess County Planning Board, again, it's within 500 feet of a
Feet of
county
road,
road
okay,
for commercial
gotcha.
use. And the
And the WAC.
WAC, because it's within the LWR.
And Brian has graciously agreed.
what?
Brian has graciously agreed to take this very difficult
Oh,
and
no.
complex.
That's
I
right.
know-
I thought you meant Brian Tam.
I didn't know if the board, I mean, you'll do it on the site visit anyway. I didn't know if
Yes.
you wanted to see like where the signs were located, you know, like on a map, you know, and the.
I think we can just, I don't know that we really need that. They're already in place, so we'll do a site visit, obviously. Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure we count them.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll count.
Get your clicker.
We'll have a verification of the count as well, I think, so. All right.
I do have completion photos I can send you that show the sites where they are.
That'd be nice. Yes, we'll.
And I
we'll have
can, I
to-
mean, if you like, I can put them, I can get a Google map, top down, and just.
Great.
cover them.
It would be good for the record, I think.
Okay,
Yeah,
happy to do that.
okay, great, thank you.
You bet.
All right. So that's number 2, as far as the new applications. The third one, we have visiting us again. Tobin. Wow, please, you know what to do. Obviously, explain what the application is all about, what you're asking for, and take it from there.
Thanks, Scott. My name's Kyle Barnett. I'm with the law firm of Vandenwater and Vandenwater, representing Justin and Andrea Tobin. We were here on something else, so this is completely unrelated, and I'm happy to say that other matters resolved. But in the course of doing so, it was brought to our attention that a client who has a shed on the property apparently is in need of a variance because the house is that large structure right back there, and the shed is that tiny building right there. And there's a section in the code apparently that prohibits having an accessory structure. It's a permitted accessory structure, but there's apparently a section in the code that prohibits the accessory structure from fronting the front of the residence. And so that's the need for the variance. The shed is, may I borrow this?
Yeah, please.
The shed's relatively small. It was actually up when the house got its CO, so we were completely unaware that there were any issues at that particular point in time when the client was. It's a 10 by 16 shed. It's used to store. You'll notice that this is where the driveway kind of ends. And by the way, you have a 100-foot setback from what I understand from the road in an RC district, which is where this is located. The house is actually way back 423 feet from the front of the road.
And I think there's some pictures that might be helpful.
We do, yeah, so we'll get, I think that would be useful. And wanted to just point out before we get to that, here you can see it's 423 feet, and it's up a huge hill. It's really, you wouldn't be able to sight it in terms of where it is in proximity to the house, probably looking from the road. And because of the large sizes of all the properties out there, you can't, I just want to point out, you can't see it from either of the neighbors, from either side of the neighbors, which, by the way, also have sheds, or that appear to be in front of the house as well. Some of them closer to the road here this way, for whatever that's worth.
You want to go through the site pictures?
Yeah, the photographs is pretty helpful.
Please, yeah. So,
Skip this one?
yeah, we can skip this one. But it's like right there. And then, okay, here you go. Perfect. So this is actually this is not from you're up on the property, well up into the property at this photo, because the road's going to be way back here, and you can see there's where the shed is, and you saw in that overhead that there's a little stone wall that kind of goes around it. That stone wall was actually there. It almost appears like there was some sort of there may have been a structure there even beforehand, because it looks too convenient. It looks like it was like purposely built that way. It's just ideal. So we use it, my client uses it for the storage of bikes and stuff for the kids. So that's why it's a really convenient place there. And if you could look to the next photo. So here you can see from the road. That's the house up there. The shed would probably be somewhere in that
I think the shed's
area.
right here.
There you go, right there, thanks. So that's from the road, next photo. That's another shot from the front, from the road. I believe there's the shed right there. There's the shed if you get up onto the property. And there you can see the stone wall that kind of goes around it. And then, like I said, the other side, you can't move it because the stone wall is in the way, and then you're into the backyard. There's a fence in the backyard. Next picture.
When was it built approximately?
The house was built, when was it built?
The shed.
Oh, the shed? The shed was built in May of 2024.
Okay, and you're Mr. Tobin?
I am, yes, sorry.
Okay, so just
Yeah.
announce your name and all that.
Sorry, my name is Justin Tobin. I'm
Okay, just for the record. that's
Yes,
Appreciate it.
sure.
So it's
So there
it's
you
new,
can see,
but-
there it is,
but
that's the
before we moved
backyard
in.
right there. Here you can see where the wall is that goes around it, and so forth.
Okay, so I don't know if that came out, but it's new, but it was before you guys moved in. It was put in place before you were moved in.
Yeah, while
You
we
didn't-
were doing renovations, we put it there.
Oh, you put it there, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry, yes.
Yeah,
I put it there and
It was
had
while
a
they were
conversation
having
with-
the house itself renovated. Okay,
Oh,
so
I
that's-
see, so you can see the stone wall.
Yeah, so there's no wiggle room to even to move it because of that. And you look, I mean, it looks as if, like I said when I went out there to the site itself, it almost looks like this was built for some sort of a purpose. But as I indicated before, the shed was being there by the car. So that gives you a pretty good idea. There's some other pictures I think also with it, but that kind of gives you a pretty good idea. I think as you go through there you go. That's looking at it from the backyard out to the front. And I think, as council indicated previously, if you kind of go through some of the factors for the variance, I think we pretty much satisfy all of them. As I indicated, it's not uncommon to see actually sheds fronting the actual house in that particular neighborhood. In fact, I believe at least one of the neighbors on either side has a shed that's in the front. There's obviously the issue with where it's located. It's really not a more feasible place to have it located. The variance is certainly not substantial. I mean, it is.
What's the distance ahead of the house?
It's like
68.2?
Yeah, yeah. So it's not and obviously because the house is set well way back. And I would also submit it's not going to have an adverse impact on the neighborhood. It's just basically pretty much.
By 68.2 feet, or 2 inches.
That's correct.
68 feet.
So,
All right,
that's it. If anyone has,
You were in front of us 6 months ago or something?
that's about
that's
right,
another
yeah.
issue, yeah.
Yeah,
Was
unrelated.
it putting up a shed?
It was a separate, that had to deal with, we were here for an interpretation, it wasn't on a variance, and it dealt with an ag shed. And given the neighborhood and the fact that there was some consternation, I don't want to get into the details, but
We resolved
It was
it.
a
You
temporary.
resolved it,
I will say
and
we
the
vol-
neighbor was happy.
we voluntarily
Yeah.
resolved it, and the neighbor was happy. I presume the neighbor's happy, so.
Yeah, I think it's been removed.
Correct.
The structure's been removed.
Just out of curiosity, do you feel that the neighborhood is now satisfied with this shed too?
I can't imagine how anyone would have a problem with it in terms of the neighbors, because as I pointed out, the neighbors actually also have sheds that front the house, and they're actually even a lot closer to the road than this guy is, so.
Okay.
Well, they'll have their opportunity in public.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Or not.
No. Well, they'll probably say they like their shed better than that.
That's
shed.
it. Who knows?
Right, any other questions?
Shed by any other name.
No.
And it's a pretty simple application.
Yeah.
So I make a motion that we accept it. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Can you be here August 20th?
20th works for me, actually.
Okay, great.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Scott.
So let's set the public hearing up for that. Obviously, the neighbors will be notified and will get an
That's right.
opportunity to ask questions, voice their opinions, whatever, if they choose to show up. So
Sounds well. Great,
Great.
appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Talk shed.
we'll talk shit.
Talk sheds.
Okay, and Kim is looking at the cheat sheet here, has suggested that this is a type 2 action under 17.5C16, granting of individual setback and lot line variances and adjustments, which seems appropriate, so I'll make a motion that we accept it as a type 2 matter under 617.5C16. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so we only have to refer this over to the planning board. And,
That's it.
who would like to, it's a nice easy one.
I'll do that.
Just, I forget if you do that. Okay, so Richard will be on that. All righty, so that takes care of all of our new applications.
So Bravo.
Bravo. Public hearings, we have multiple, and the first one that is on is Dove Nest, which is 102 South Randall's Drive, case number 1078. Is there anybody here for that? Okay, come on up. Is there anybody in the audience who's here for this application? Okay, so the way we work this thing is that the applicant gives their presentation, and then once they give their presentation, you are encouraged to come on up and either ask questions, voice your opinion, do whatever. The only thing I do say, and I say this all the time, and I stole it from an old judge, I was in front of trying a case, the louder you speak, the less I hear, okay? And if things get really ugly, then I go deaf. So we keep things civil here, and we're not Washington, we're not other places, we're Rhinebeck. I know it may be important, I mean, these things are always important to people, but if you have a good argument, you don't need to raise your voice. You can make your good argument in a civil tone, and we insist on that. So I'm sure we're not going to have any trouble, but I just want to throw that out there because, and you're on TV, so if you behave badly, everybody gets to see it. Anyway, with that said, go through the application, please, and then whoever wants to come on up, state your name, and then you do whatever you like. Simple. Take it away.
My name is Craig Hightower. I'm the president and the project developer for New Energy Project Management. We've been hired by the property owner at 102 Southlands to develop and manage the installation of an 88 kilowatt ground-mounted solar array. We're seeking 4 variances, I believe, against the property line on the southeast, which is the side. I also think this is the side.
That's front.
The front property line. And then I guess I'll go through my good explanations on why we're proposing this.
Yes, go through the whole application, so the public gets to hear it, the neighbors get to hear it, and they can ask you questions, so.
So, the reason for the location here is visual view shed has always been important from the moment that I started this project, and I've been working on it since 2022. So, right here in this location, and I've got the topography on the site plan, you can see that that this is a low point within this field, and which tucks in this corner, which has natural screening to the south, and has already been planted screening to the east. So with the low topography and the ability to use natural screening plus installed screening, it tucks into a corner that limits the view from everywhere else. Going in further into this field, the topography elevates quite a bit, which then puts the array up on top of a platform which can be seen from a wider distance. So that was part one of why it's here. The second part, with any solar installation, it has to have an interconnection point. The service for the property comes in from off of the property into the parcel to the southeast of the property, where there's a utility easement that comes in. Having the meter that services the entire property at 102 Southlands creates a somewhat difficult way to interconnect. We certainly can't trench through that easement to come to the meter over here. So the original thought was that we would go directly to a pole, but that pole is on the other side of the property line. We don't want to do that. So we've had this line surveyed, and right about here is a customer-owned utility pole where the service for the property, the electric service for the property, goes underground from this point and travels 1,600 feet, I believe, to the residence over here that's consuming the power from the service bed from the meter over here. So what we're going to do now is trench over to this utility pole and make an interconnection point here, so we stay on the customer side of the property, and don't need to go into that utility easement or anywhere else for an interconnection point. So we've got low topography, easier to screen, less visible from everyone around, and then a viable interconnection point on the customer utility pole before it goes underground.
Now, just looking at our notes, I thought we had asked for a full survey map of the entire property. Also, I always ask for renderings.
They did provide renderings.
Yeah,
They
I
did
do have
provide
a visual
renderings. I didn't see
rendering
that.
of
Okay.
This
actual
it came in
photo.
a little late today.
Ah,
Sorry. Yeah, something we were working on to get, it was the actual photo, folks at Southlands let me come in, snap this picture, and then we place the array behind it.
Is that all the property, or I mean, is any of that Southlands that we're looking at?
Yeah, so up until so here's that corner of the property, right? Here's the, kind of where the property tees off. Here's the south line, here's the eastern line, right about at the fence. So that's like, you're looking directly at that corner of it. Like if you go from, can you go back to that side? So you're probably looking about right here. So right here.
and I know these things came in late, but are there any renderings that show the actual ground mounts and where they're going to be on the property? Because that's always helpful too. Let me ask
I
for that.
think on here, there's like a little bit of a,
Yeah, so you can see,
Yeah, but you
in
can
that
see
photo,
it.
the ground mount is in there.
But it's not on the photograph of the actual site. We don't know how it's going to appear on the
Oh,
image.
it's
Oh, yeah,
right.
it's in there, yeah, zoom in. That's kind of what we're saying, is like.
Oh, there
Holy
it is.
moly,
Yeah,
okay.
it is.
Uh-huh.
And you can zoom in further than that, I think.
All right, I'm sorry. I didn't.
I'm sorry, did you say holy moly?
I can say something else. if you
So,
want.
so yeah, I mean, and those are black willows, so these are gonna grow about 6 feet per year. And so, this thing will be, it'll disappear, by the time it's.
and you said this rendering was taken on Southland's property with the, you said with their permission?
Yeah.
Those, yeah. Those trees behind it, looks like they're right behind it. I mean, the big trees right behind it.
This one right here,
No,
these?
no, behind it.
Oh, yeah.
Are any of those trees coming down?
No, those, so, the sun's over on this side, so, you know, that was another issue with kind of coming further into this field,
Right,
is that it's
yeah.
more impacted by this tree line, which is west, quite a ways west from where we're
Yeah.
at.
Which way is east and west of this?
East would be, I'm east of this shot right
Okay.
now. So I'm facing west.
Is it staked right now?
Uh,
The location?
Not fully staked, but it can be. I mean,
It'll
that's
have to be
the plan.
staked,
Yeah.
typically what we do at the end of the public hearing is we go out
Yep.
and take a look, so we have it staked, so. just,
I don't know
next
if you
couple
remember the
weeks.
last time, we actually changed the racking layout for the system, so it had a lower tilt, so we bring the elevation of the array down. And so that, you know, we need to go through a whole design change, and so we have the final version on that site plan to approve, everything's in there. But yeah, whenever it is, we do have to.
Yeah, so we don't need, this helps us because it's not there, so we need to see what.
I'm planning to do a stake that would reach the elevation at each
Oh,
point.
that'd be great,
on The low
too.
end and the high end, so that way,
Yeah.
turn that into.
And I believe the measurements that were provided were that the highest height is about 9.6 feet.
Yeah.
And they don't, do they're
Nope,
fixed?
They're fixed still,
fixed.
yep, we'll stay that way forever.
Yeah, it doesn't move.
No.
And what, the trees, these ones are already planted, or they will be planted on the east side?
Those are planted, this does replicate about somewhere between 1.5 to 2 feet of growth from where they are today,
Okay.
making you know, essentially estimate of where they'll be at the time that this would get installed at the earliest opportunity. So we added in about 1.5 foot of growth height-wise for this rendering.
And have you shown the Southlands people this stuff?
Yeah, but at the same time, I think I sent it to Gretchen and sent it over to him.
I just wanted to make sure that people have the information as well.
So what would be the, I know trees probably just have, do you happen to know how tall the trees get generally?
In their life, like 70 feet.
So, okay.
So yeah, they will be, the property manager who's here as well, there will be a plan to kind of, once the array is hidden, you know, we'll find a median that, you know, they can top those off, not let them get much taller so we create a shade element, but tall enough to stay visually screened.
Okay. Would anybody like to be heard on this application? Come on up.
Am I staying, sitting?
You can stand right there, because sometimes people like to just ask you questions and
I
what have you.
Well,
Or
no, we would ask,
just
we would
move
ask
off
that you,
right there.
yeah, we would ask that you direct the comments to the board, and then
Comments
it's,
to the board.
But he can also ask questions of,
We had a
your
lovely-
client applicants.
We had a lovely chat.
Oh, well, that's very nice.
Yeah, it was lovely. It was very helpful. My name is Jake Bleach. I am president of the board of the Southlands Foundation, which owns the property on both sides here. So, going, we own all this property, all this property. So on either side of this solar array, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization founded in 1983. And in 1987, we got a nearly 200-acre scenic Hudson land conservation grant to prevent the Dutchess County land dump. Dutchess County wanted to seize 200 acres and turn it into a dump via eminent domain, so we became one of the first scenic Hudson conservation easements. It's our founder, Deb Dowse, wonderful, wonderful woman. So that conservation easement ends right along this, right here. So our mission is to promote conservation and education about conservation and instill love of animals and the land in people through being in the land and throughout the recreation, primarily through equine activities. So we have 14 school horses. We offer riding lessons as a way to fund ourselves. We have partnerships with Daytop. We have weekly programming with them where they come in and enjoy the property and participate in activities with the horses as part of their recovery. We also have partnerships with the Anderson Center for Autism as well as Ramapo. and have had various programs with Rhinebeck schools. Currently, we're working on a partnership to do reading with horses for little kids to help them with reading difficulties. So, I am here on behalf of the organization to speak to our concerns about this solar array, particularly in that our mission is to conserve the land, and one of our greatest assets at Southlands, we call it, being at Southlands, there's Southlands magic, and it's really about when you're at Southlands, it's this beautiful, wonderful, preserved place that is just full of scenic beauty. And the pictures here are at the lowest point on our property. So our barn is behind you, several hundred feet and up a fairly substantial hill.
Can you look down and see?
If you sit next to our gazebo, you can look out over our main, what we call the big field, to that's this.
I have an aerial that might be helpful.
Yeah, so our big field is more this way. Yeah, so
So just before, so if you just go right
This
before,
is-
that's what yeah.
this is where the solar array is planned for. This is our main barn, which is up a substantial hill. The pictures are from about right here. So we have a hill and a gazebo. People like to sit right here, which provides a very direct line of view to that solar array, which is substantially higher than the pictures from.
Have there been any, sometimes what people do is they'll put balloons at a certain height, just so you can see, the height that they would be there, and then you can see from different vantage points whether you can see the balloons. Has that been done yet?
No, we haven't put that, we'll stake that out and give you some opinion stake or.
Well, that might be helpful, because I think on the site inspection, probably going to be, if you don't mind, coming out to Southlands and seeing what you see from different vantage points and things
I
like
am
that.
happy to give anyone a tour. We are open to the public 7 days a week.
But when we go on the site, we go on a site inspection of this on a Saturday typically, and if we're able to, like, if you put those balloons out, at least we're able to see, say from their highest point, if there really is a problem, looking down and seeing this thing.
You're saying you want the balloons where the solar panels
Yes.
are, the
Yep.
balloons or something.
Yeah.
Balloons, and in fact, they were used just recently with, and it's coming up here, what is it? The T-court.
T-court, yeah.
So you could see the different elevations. That was helpful.
Yeah. Good idea.
And we also did it with the
Were you
place,
at Daniels?
Daniel's in Rhinebeck.
Yeah, the one that's
Right, look,
off
okay.
the long
Yeah.
dock.
Yeah, remember? So we could get an idea of.
It was
of
the height of the concern.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we would need something like that, because we need to see, and I think they need to see, we all need to see.
Right. And another thing, I just kind of ran out of time on getting those actual renderings made, getting that placed behind the trees in the image. So I took shots from where he was talking about, from the gazebo. Like I went, met with Kathy, who's the executive director, and kind of said, hey, where are the main points? I did that with a drone flight, and did it from a vantage point of about somebody 6 foot tall, and tried to shoot it in each spot, including that one there was, the drone's a little bit further away from me, so I think it was about 6 feet, but it may have even been a little bit higher than 6 feet with the shot. So,
Any of the
but
information.
I'm happy to keep playing with that now that we haven't figured out how to do it. We could plug in the array and some of the other images from the other vantage points and get that to you guys quickly.
That would be helpful. So I think you were still going.
Yes, I think our primary concern is the visual impact. Our beauty is our primary asset at Southlands. I think for these variances, all the points here for all of these questions, it does seem out of place to me. There is nothing like it here. The plantings they've done to hide it are not really, nothing else looks like them, and I don't think they're adequate to fully hide this thing. So I would love some better plantings. I think the idea that there's no feasible alternative is hard to believe, because this field is huge. So they want to put it right here. And they have, this is just one of their properties. So like this landowner owns somewhere north of 500 acres. So it's hard to believe that this little area in the corner is the only spot it could possibly be.
And that was actually asked when the application was accepted, is this work, why can't we put it elsewhere?
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons we do the site inspection, too, just to see, is it so or not so?
And I would say that the idea that this is a low point in the field is simply not correct, because it is a low point compared to right in the general vicinity of this corner, but this is their driveway, and if they were to place the solar array over here, it is significantly lower, to the point where we would almost certainly not be able to see it at all from our property. It is not meaningfully farther from their interconnect point right here. And, you know, I think when they say that there's no feasible alternative, it's just because, you know, when you drive down the driveway, that would be in full sight of, you know, them driving down their driveway affecting them instead of affecting us. Because it is also the case that this is slightly higher, closer to their driveway, which means putting it further in the corner in the supposed low spot also happens to make it less visible from their own driveway. And I will grant it does also lower it, so it's probably less visible from our own property, but it does certainly seem somewhat self-serving.
Forgive me, your name is?
Jacob Leach.
A couple of questions, if I may. Approximately, you said you're open to the public. How many visitors do you estimate you get weekly, monthly, yearly?
Weekly, I mean, we have, you know, we have clientele, we run a riding school. So for that, we have camp, and we have like 15 people in camp. We have walkers. We have 2 of our walkers here tonight who go on trails. We have miles of trails. So we get, you know, hundreds of people weekly probably.
Weekly.
Maybe 100, I don't know. It's hard to estimate.
Okay. And then your acreage approximately?
We have just under 200 acres.
Okay. And then how many horses do you have?
So we have 14 or 15 school horses that we own and care for, that are actively used in the program. And then we have 7 retired school horses because we don't euthanize school horses when they can't be used anymore. So those live in the field that's right next to the solar array and then over here.
So they have a forever home?
Yeah, so we have 20-something of our own, and then we have probably about 20 to 30 border horses that people pay to board with us as part of.
You rotate your pastures on too?
We do not generally rotate the pastures because we simply don't have the capacity.
Okay. Last question. So you said you had a lovely conversation or a fruitful conversation. Any resolution?
I mean, we were providing very helpful with lots of information. They've been very open and transparent. But it doesn't allay the
Is there a compromise?
concerns.
Well, Craig, what say you to the argument that Jacob just made about putting it elsewhere?
Yeah, it's the interconnection point at that time. So, you know, the trenching distance from here to here, you know, if you know, it's double, maybe even 2.5 times to get to a viable place out here. And then the terrain, there's a huge drop coming past the driveway here. You know, remember the service goes underground, so there's no other option for an interconnection point than somewhere between their meter here and this pole here, which is where service is above ground. You know, doing it on, you know, other property or other acres, it's like that's just not viable for what it's intended to do, which is to service the loads on this property. So, and yeah, that's really it. At the point of like, why can't it go somewhere else on the large parcel? Totally get that. We thought about it, we walked it, we've spent a lot of time like thinking about it, and it really comes down to the fact that if it goes out here, there's nowhere to land the home run for the interconnection point.
Any Anybody else want to be heard? Jacob, are you done, or? I'm not pushing. You can have as much time as you want.
Oh God, let's say that.
Well, I don't know. Great for you.
I think I would love to see just, additional information on like what other alternatives were actually looked at, because we haven't really gotten a ton of.
Well, I encourage you guys to talk.
Data.
That's always helpful.
Mhm.
And then when we do the site inspection, it'd be great if everybody was together
Mhm.
and we all walk the site together. That's very
Yeah.
helpful. We've done that in the past in several situations.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much our concern.
My name is Susan Williams, and I am an advocate for Mrs. Dow's. I'm speaking for her. I was a trustee of 3 of her estates and an advisor during her life. One of her main goals in our mission statement was her acknowledgement that things might change in the world, and we would watch it change, but Southlands must remain the same. The photograph that he showed is exactly where we have caught ponies for years. The field that they're putting the solar farm in was a shared field with her brother, so we have sort of, a history with the whole property, which is, 300 years old. We really know that her feelings would be absolutely against anything solar so close within our site. Kids are going back and forth all the time to catch ponies for their lessons. We have camps. They spend a lot of time in the field. The trees that they planted already obscure the rolling hills that were once available to us. I know it was a wonderful attempt to, prevent us from seeing the panels. We don't want the panels either, so it's sort of like the cart before the horse. In this age of development of all the new houses that are being put in, it seems hard to believe that trenching something, we see houses going in half miles off back roads, that they couldn't put it somewhere else without a visual field on our property. Our horses live in this field and in the back field where there's a shed.
Can you use the
Yeah.
pointer at,
And then I'll put up that other,
No, this is where I want.
okay.
Yeah. Our horses are,
There's a little button on top.
our horses are here. Mrs. Dow's house was, before it burned, back there, and she was able to look at the horses in the field, and they would run up to her house. Our horses live here. This is the little gate that they run through. Our retirement horses are directly behind there, and they've already been disturbed and been running, and the weed whackers, maintain the fence line. So I can't imagine what would happen when there's all this construction. These are my concerns and the concerns of the foundation. I think a more elaborate study needs to be done about where it could be put. And we've been really good neighbors. We share a road. We've allowed them to put up a gate back, where they have a privacy gate. We've aerated a pond that was kind of nasty. So, we're not against solar. We're just against solar where it is.
where it's proposed?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to respond to that? And
Yeah,
just state your name and,
Sure.
Good evening, my name is Mikal. I'm the property manager for Duck's Nest. And like Susan said, we had a really lovely meeting. We all talked, and just tying to what she was talking about, we are great neighbors. We've taken care of their property for many, many years. We actually maintain ponds ourselves for them. the Amalfi Coast there. And I just want to say, it's really beautiful to see people who care about legacy and the history. And because there's so few people nowadays that care about anything about themselves. And I just want to say that we care deeply about the history of the land and, the legacy of Mrs. Dow's. But I feel like legacy is most meaningful when it keeps up with the times and times evolved. And today, the part of the legacy and part of the times is our responsibility to sustainability. And I think the owners of the land, of the property really care about the land. I mean, that is why they're trying to put in this renewable energy source on the land, so the generations that come after can enjoy it in harmony with nature. And just to say, we have met in person with the whole team in Southlands, and we listened really deeply, and we're very concerned, not concerned. We listen to their concerns very deeply, and we try to address them. The planting that we did there, obviously, is an attempt in good faith. I have personally guaranteed that whatever additional planting needs to happen, we will make it happen because we want to be the neighbors, we want to do the right thing. That being said, I think putting solar array that powers sustainably a property can be a beautiful opportunity to teach kids that conservation and preservation and also progress can coexist together in one space. I understand that change can be hard and challenging and sometimes scary, especially if there is personal history tied to that. Like Susan said, they used to run the horses and ponies over there. And we're not to disregard or diminish anybody's memories or anybody's feelings about the property. But I think it's it's important for us to that we stick. I wrote notes here. I think it's important that we stick to the facts and regulations that are at hand, and that we're not just holding on to something that's sentimental. As the rightful owners of the property, we have really tried to meet all the environmental, all the zoning requirements, and I think personal preferences of what one might think neighbor's property should look like should really not be the basis for an opposition. We've really showed good faith of, and every step we took really showed like our commitment to providing as much privacy and as little visibility and being environmentally responsible as possible. So we're working very hard every day. Like Craig's been really on this. We're not trying to cut any corners. We really try to do our due diligence, and we really are just trying to be good neighbors and do the right thing. And the trees that are there are going to grow over 7 feet, within a year. It's easy to add additional foliage for us. We will do whatever it takes to make it as harmless for them as possible. Again, we had a lovely conversation, and we're just trying to be nice neighbors and do the right thing for yourself.
Well, quite frankly, it's refreshing to see people getting along. And,
Yeah.
I mean, you can, reasonable minds can differ, and you can be respectful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We don't see this all the time.
Oh, okay.
We're happy.
No,
We
yeah.
see this, and we want to get to this.
And we are good neighbors. I mean, I think we are good neighbors. We're on the same page about a lot of things. It's just obviously there's different ideas that we have about this, but like I said, on behalf of the owners, we have really tried our best, and we're committed to do whatever it takes to make this a good experience for everybody. And also just like that being said, the specifications we were talking about, the cans are held, once a year, I believe, right, in summer. The kids are, positions in the lower places. There's all different variances to the stories that are told. So I think once we're on the site and we do walk through, I think it'll be easier for everybody to see and have a full picture of how things are and what things happen throughout the years, and really like what the visibility is for everybody. And the implication of impact.
How many acres is the property?
So the total properties are 500 acres, but they're divided separately. They're not interconnected.
They're not connected.
Yeah, there is a piece of land that's in between us, a sliver that separates the two pieces of land.
And this solar is just going to do that?
It's just for to main house
And then
on that
When
property.
was that main house?
Ooh, I I don't know the dates
I
on
mean, is
that.
that a 100-year-old house or?
It's an old property that.
It is one of the
Yeah,
old ones?
yeah, it is.
And do you think there could be plantings done to prevent the site of these from where Jacob was talking about, from the barns and the, where people gather?
Yes.
From all that distance, you think plantings can be done?
Even with the planting that we have right now, these trees grow up to, as Craig said, up to 70 feet, right? So, and we're willing to plant, larger trees there if that need is immediate to do the coverage. But, 70 feet is really high. We will obviously try to maintain them where we're the happy medium is, so it's not bothering them. It's also not, causing us trouble where we're not getting any sun on the rays because they'll be defeating the whole purpose of the installation. But, yeah.
Question regarding the panels, and refresh my memory on this.
They're about 9.5 feet high.
The capacity is the electricity that's going to be generated, is it going to exceed the capacity of the property, or do you know?
It won't even meet it. I want to say it's like about
60%, yeah.
It'll only cover about 60% of the annual consumption on that service.
Really?
Yeah.
Or
And
are there plans to enlarge it, to do the whole?
this is it, yeah.
So, and that's, well, if you want to finish up, I can speak to the technical side of that.
I just wanted to also point out, initially when this project initiated, the technology was much different. So the line of the arrays was much longer than it is now. So it's not just lower by almost 2 feet, but it's also shorter. It's because of the capacity and what they can produce now versus what it was when it was older. So,
It's going to Central Hudson. I mean, is that the reason I'm asking the question, I was hoping the answer was it was going to exceed capacity. And then is there any way to share with me?
Yeah, right. I knew you were going to say that.
no, unfortunately, no.
That's a no.
Well,
So, for that, we would have to do much bigger coverage and it would be much bigger
And
installation.
the clock is ticking on solar.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
What do you mean about that?
I mean, that incentives sunset after 2025, at least I think that's the current.
There is now an urgency around when this gets built by the end of the year to make it eligible for the federal incentive that
Oh,
we've all had. But I mean, that's,
You've been doing
if
this
things
since
go through
2020.
this year, fine. What's that?
You've been doing this since 2022.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And then something to speak to on the service side of things and whether or not it can get bigger or be moved. So this is a single phase service, which is lower voltage, the way you would find in your house. So this is actually a very big solar system to interconnect on single phase service, which is, we're pushing it about to the max. Which creates another element to the electrical engineering of moving it further away and delivering that power further, because then you have to account for voltage drop. The way you do that is to oversize the system, to account for voltage drop.
Which occurs over time, or not over
Distance.
distance.
The further away it gets, the less voltage you get by the time it interconnects.
Yeah, you got a ways
And
to go.
so because it's single phase, this is 3-phase and higher voltage, then we can play with different things to extend that. But because it's single phase, we're limited to what we can actually interconnect. That makes it harder. Not even harder, just the electrical engineering doesn't math out once you get into distances over. I think the trench now is 278 feet.
That's one.
So, and it is mapped out on the site plan now. Yeah, much further than that. That's already going to have voltage drop. Any further than that, it starts to get significant.
I think I asked this before in my last question, and there's no option to put it on roofs or roofs.
Question, put it on what?
to put on roofs,
Roofs.
Oh, yeah, no.
not on the main house, no. It's just the surfaces are not.
Okay,
I want to say maybe either shale or slate. It's a slate roof.
Okay, got it.
Don't quote me on that, but I think
Yeah,
I was the original consultant on the job back in 2022, and this was the thing that which is what I do. I try to be as mindful about every variable that I can be. And even in fact, the production of the system would be better off closer to the required setbacks front yard setback would be, but, you know, then again, it's, even where it is now, it's gonna have a shading impact from that southern tree line, but because it's able to be tucked in there in that low elevation, it'll be less productive than it would be if we put it out in the middle of the field where screening just becomes
An issue.
that's the thought.
Do we have anybody else in the audience who would like to speak to this? Okay.
We did get a letter, I guess, right? We all read that letter?
Well, we have a letter from the planning board.
No,
No,
from James and Jeanette
James.
Gurney.
Yep, I was just gonna say that.
And I'd like to know if this helped their concerns in that letter. I know I see James here. Were a lot of your questions, I want to know, were they answered or
Yeah,
your concerns?
yeah, we were concerned because should I come up to the microphone?
Yeah, do you mind?
Yeah, come on up, please. We encourage you, this is why we're here, just so everybody gets a chance to talk and we don't bite,
You had a
so-
good letter and you had some concerns and I just wanted
Yeah, I
to...
just did some looking into the proposal.
And, could you state your
My
name
name
and
is
address?
James Gurney.
Okay, and your address for that, right, that's all.
Yeah, in Rhinebeck.
Yep.
And my wife and I are artists. So we walk down Southlands quite often. In fact, I did a painting there today. And I'm concerned about the visual impact and the amount of herbicides that will be used underneath the solar panels will affect the environment. But it is it's right in the corner that you can see from Southlands. And that's a concern because there's a lot of other land that they could put it on. The holding company that is representing this, Dove's Nest, has an apostrophe after the S, which is curious. So they're doing research for it. You have to dig a little bit and put the apostrophe after the S. When you do that, you find out who owns the property. It's very interesting. So I encourage you to do that research yourself. And I'm just wondering about the necessity. We all love solar power, but it's being put right next to a public property that's enjoyed not only by walkers and classes, but also by bird watchers. It's a major bobolink nesting area. And anyway, it doesn't seem necessary, and it seems like it'll have a very major visual impact. So.
Good, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else who would like to be heard? Don't be shy. Okay.
We should close.
Well, we have a letter from the.
I was just gonna say, we have a letter from the planning board, from their referral comments. They did raise a few questions that were also brought up by the board and by the public, such as the location, if there's another location, concerned about visual impacts. Did you receive that?
Yep.
Okay. The other concern that the planning board had was also that they're going to need a special use permit for the ground mounted. And I believe that they have submitted that application. So the planning, I believe they're on the August 4th meeting for the planning board. So the planning board just asked that the ZBA hold it open while the planning board is reviewing.
Which is fair, and we honor that, and it makes sense given the circumstances. So I'll definitely make a motion to keep the public hearing open. In the meantime, we'll probably come out and do a site inspection, and we'll probably do that. One thing I really would urge you to do, which I think would be helpful to us, and has been helpful in the past, is to have a series of balloons that show how high it's going to be. So that when we're on the Southland side, we can look down and see if we can see those balloons. That's very, very helpful. It's been very, very helpful in a couple other applications.
I also just want to, point when we're going to be doing this balloon test. The rays are black, non-reflective material. So I think it's harder to see a black non-reflective material rather than a colorful balloons. You know what I mean?
You can make
Like
a black balloons.
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to point it out that you had a hard time seeing it from the photo there because it's black, it blends in with the landscape much more than.
Yeah. If the photograph in front of me, I might have been able to see.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll get it sorted for you.
No, it was definitely a good first photograph.
I really worked hard, I tried hard.
No, it was good. Yeah.
And it is to scale, we confirmed that. Now, on your comment of that, are you saying the public hearing for the zoning department stays open?
We're staying
Until
open,
the
yes,
planning?
until the planning has a chance to take a look at it. Which
And it might
is
be
not
good to,
unusual.
even with, you know, some of the comments raised with the site visit, it might be good to keep it
Yeah.
open, regardless of the planning board's request, just so you guys, everyone can kind of get a little bit more information.
Typically, on a very simple matter, which this is not, we can close the public hearing at the first hearing. But here with comments and obviously the nature of the lands and all that kind of stuff, and complexity of the matter, it's not unusual that we hold meetings open, especially when we're asked by our planning board to do so. We understand.
Yeah, understood. I do want to comment too on the, you had asked for me to contact Scenic Hudson about the scenic easement, which I did that and spoke with the gentleman there who confirmed that the scenic easement does end on their property. So the scenic easement is not applicable on the 102 Southlands property.
So the easement ends on South?
Scenic Hudson's scenic easement does not have jurisdiction, I think I'm using the right word for that, on the Dunsmith property. Yeah, it ends at that point.
The Scenic
And that was
Hudson,
from Scenic
Scenic
Hudson.
Hudson doesn't own an easement, doesn't hold an easement on Dunsmith property, they hold an easement on South.
Correct.
Any other questions, concerns?
So Scott, did you also want to try to get that survey of the whole property?
Yeah, that should be provided. We asked for it before, so that would be helpful.
Got it.
Anything you want to do on alternatives, if you want to ask for alternatives, or? Because that is one of the questions, and, you
Yeah,
know, you
although
can ask
I think it's already
alternative
been,
locations, you know, maybe just see if there's another location that the applicant can consider.
we can answer that, but I think they've already answered that, saying that because of the voltage issues and the distance and all that kind of stuff, that's the only place. You lose too much voltage, if I'm understanding it correctly.
Correct.
I'm just a lawyer, I'm not an engineer, but if it's too far away, you're gonna lose a sufficient amount of voltage, it doesn't make sense.
Correct. Yeah. And then just a measurable, I mean, I don't know how much cost is considered in it, but I would estimate that distance into the location that Jacob had pointed out would be, just the cost of the trench alone would make the project completely.
Do you lose voltage if the panels are further away from what it's going to supply, where it's going to supply?
Where it's going to interconnect, yeah.
So that's where you lose. I mean, if it was right, if
It
was on the
loses
roof-
along the way.
If it was on the roof, you'd get the best possible quality. And if it was backyard, you lose it. The further away you go from the house, correct?
Or from the interconnection point, where, so in, can you go back to the site plan real quick?
The site plan, the open, this one?
Yep, yeah. So the interconnection point is going to be here, or actually you have it pointed out there. I think it's a little closer to up here, but anyways, on that, so there'll be a new meter, essentially, a customer-owned meter that will serve as the interconnection point, which is similar to what you're, normally you have, if you're doing it on your house, you have a meter on your house. But yeah, the best voltage would come from, well, you don't want to get too high because you need shade it, but the closer we are to this pole, the more of the voltage is kept by the time it registers into the service.
But you could change the interconnection points.
You can't because the service, these are overhead. Well, remember the service, the meter, the primary meter is way on the Southlands
For that
property.
property?
For the Dove's Nest property, correct? So there's really, I mean, we could change it closer this way, we can come closer in, but then that would require it coming into the Southlands property, which we work very hard to avoid.
I just don't understand why you can't move that interconnection point anywhere on the property.
Because the service is on that pole. So you can't.
Or if you
Then it goes underground. You can't move.
well,
overhead.
if you threw another pole, if you got Central Hudson to put a pole farther into your property,
Yeah.
then you wouldn't have that issue potentially.
Well, I mean, you won't have the issue of voltage drop, but then it's, I mean, I'd have to think about the logistics of how that would work. But it would have to come from,
It's also
it would be the new service, if we did it the way that you just described, the service would have to come from the primary meter out here, so now we're taking a trench all the way through the home. Here, this is just a new customer home that's gonna tap into the service that's already there.
Yes, right, okay.
Right.
Understood.
All right, well, I think we discussed this enough for this evening, and I do want to commend everybody for being civil and having great points on both sides. Yeah, I gave this a lot to think about. I am going to make a motion to keep the public hearing open. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so we're going to keep the public hearing open because the planning board needs to get some more information. In the meantime, what we'll do is we'll set up a mutually agreeable time, probably a Saturday morning if that works for everybody.
I know that you sometimes do it, sometimes discuss the date now.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's the
Yeah.
best.
But do you want to actually pick a date now?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, yep. So, maybe we'll do a second week of August.
Gretchen, what were you
I'm
going to say?
here, I'm away from the
Set it up, yeah.
5th.
What do you want it to be?
The 15th, so that doesn't give, so we have to do it really before that.
Sorry, but I'd like to be, but if I can,
And Richard, you can always
Or it
do,
could
you
be
can
the-
always do another.
Yeah, we don't
it
have
could
to
be the
do it.
16th.
16th of
August.
August.
Is that too late?
No,
When's
the 20th is the next
planning
one.
board here?
Well,
What is the 18th, the 4th?
that's not a
You could do
good.
August 2nd.
But that's-
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah.
maybe we do it the 16th.
So
the next-
planning board would be,
We could get the planning board out there too.
But I was gonna say the planning board might be able to do that then too.
Yeah,
Do it all in one.
August 16th work out there?
that's great.
Because that way we can get the planning board people out there as well. And, you know, it's better just do it once. It gives you more time to set up my balloons and everything else.
Those black balloons.
What time again?
Is 10 o'clock okay for everybody? Something like that? Yeah. Okay. All right, so we'll plan on 10, August 16th.
All the time, or 10 to 2.
Good. Awesome. All right. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's not the only one we're trying to wonder.
Yeah, we gotta know we'll do something else like this. That's probably gonna take about a while. We gotta figure an hour for that.
Right.
So, we're not gonna be able to do too many more. All righty. So,
Somebody's ready.
Somebody's ready.
Somebody's ready and we're ready to go.
Simpler, so I think.
all right, we have case number 1079, Emma Sabia, who I believe is approaching the microphone. Okay, state your name and what you want to do here. Is there anybody here for Emma's thing, bottle shop? Okay, well, you can say you have to finish your spiel.
Yeah, I'm Emma Sabia from the Bottle Shops in Rhinebeck. We're a wine and spirits shop at Astor Square on Route 9. We're applying for a area variance to increase our signage. We basically replaced the existing signs on the front and back of the shop and also did some stenciling on the windows. The front window has just our logo and our hours, and the back window has a logo and just a note that says please use the front entrance. We have since taken down the sign on the back of the shop. Obviously the stenciling is still on the windows. We haven't done anything to take that down. These signs have been in place for the last 2 years. When we took over the shop 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago at this point. So we're just hoping to keep those signs in place.
Which sign did you take down?
We took the sign, the one that matches on the front of the shop, that was on the back, sort of facade of the building there. After we were asked to take that down because of the need for variance.
So these are the new exactly?
Yep, these have been done for the last 2 years. What is on this is the back door of the shop, which is a very sort of low traffic area. Legally, as a wine shop, we have to have just one entrance for customers. So that's basically just a notice so that people don't use that back door. We do have sometimes delivery drivers knock on that back door when we make deliveries. But
Is the back door locked?
Back door is usually locked, yeah, and then we have a separate storage room, so we as a team use that back door to go outside and go to our storage room, but it's not a customer use door, and it's, as you said, a door that's often locked. So that's the back door, again, like a very low traffic area as far as sort of how Astor Square is organized. And then we have the stenciling also on the front door, which basically just has our hours. We had a hanging sign that had hours listed on it that would constantly fly off when people came in and out of the shop. So this was just essentially a cleaner way to list hours and have this available for.
What did you add to the front? I mean, nothing? Just
So
the-
if you go to just the shot of the signage on the front, so this had been a sign that said like wine and liquor, a very sort of like outdated sign. We basically just updated these signs with our own branding when we took over the shop. So this sign is on the front of the shop, and we had a matching one on the back facade of the shop, which is essentially looks a mirror image of this. So those signs were technically new, but replacement signs for what had already been there. And then we added the stenciling on both doors. At the time, we didn't realize that that was part of sort of signage.
When you replaced those bottle shop rectangular things,
Yeah,
was it essentially the same size? as
same
what was
exact
there?
size as what it is, yeah.
So, and then so these are all up?
We took the matching sign on the back of the shop down when we had to apply for the variance. We were asked to take that down.
And that will remain down.
That will remain down until.
So that bottle shop sign in the back is going?
Correct. This is a shot of the one on the front. I think we have also a shot of the one on the back.
I don't have it on mine.
Yeah, I don't have it, but
It's
there's
a
nothing on the
mirror
back.
image of what was on the back. So we took the one that was on the back of the shop down.
Did I read somewhere that there's a master plan for signage for Astor Square that's going on right now?
Well, so the planning board referral comment letter had mentioned that there is a proposed master plan with Astor Square to have, I think, all the signs kind of look very similar or, conforming to each other. So I did pull up, there was, I guess, a hair encore, I think is the name of the business, that was done in April. Some hair place that was done in April. And, the planning board referred to that, how that sign was discussed. I provided those minutes to the board. I did reach out to Brian Tam, zoning enforcement officer, about, this master plan. He said that he's been trying to work with the landowner, Mr. Riker, on it. There's no plan at the moment. He's been trying to work on it. He did mention he does support having a master plan. He does think it would be a benefit, and he does recommend that.
Brian or?
Brian.
Or Riker? Okay.
No, Brian Tam recommends that there is a master plan. He supports the master plan, and he said to me in an email that he would recommend that the board consider that master plan in this.
Well, now I'm curious, sorry, when you say master plan, town,
No, just for Astor
Just for
Square.
Astor
Square.
Just for Astor Square.
But
how much time do you
have we
think?
been provided with it? I mean,
There is no master plan.
So there's
It's being, it's
They're
a
talking about it.
How
proposal.
can we consider it if it doesn't exist?
These guys.
In
need
other
to
words,
sign
in
up
other
right
words,
now.
in other words, what he's
I
saying
mean,
is
I
that
know,
it
but-
should,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I
yeah.
understand. What he's
Well, let's
saying is that
consider
this should be held off until there's a master plan, is what he's saying.
How much time do you think what percentage of time do you think we spend on something?
Don't get me going.
You're fine.
Don't get me going.
I love that conversation, yeah.
I just had a comment, I don't know if this is gonna make it into the microphone.
Okay, but it'll make it in if you have your voice, if you say your name and we know
Oh,
who you are.
Paul Reichert from Time
Yeah,
and Signs.
okay.
The reason why Mr. Reichert doesn't have his master plan is because I haven't been able to do it yet.
It's your fault.
It is, and I'm going to own up to it. It's a fairly complex thing. It hit me at a time in the springtime when it's very, I mean, I have all the information. I just have to sit down, draft a plan, and get his approval. But it will happen this year. I apologize that, I mean, you can see the name on the bottom of the signs. We did those signs for you, and last time I was here, we
It's
were
just that, you know, I don't understand, it. Just like, you know, I know we're nowhere near that yet, but is the master plan, so most of the signs will look the same?
So,
Because if it is, I don't think that's a good idea.
it's not a good idea.
Because
We've been
everybody
asked to
has
do a
their
master
own
plan
identity.
Yeah,
It's called
exactly.
branding.
Yeah.
to create, I don't think it's a matter of a uniform look for all the signs. I think it's a matter of establishing an agreed upon square footage that makes sense for every tenant to use. I don't think it's a limitation on someone's free speech or what goes on the sign or what the colors they use. I think they're looking for an amount of square footage that each tenant is entitled to that can be agreed upon by the board that would no longer necessitate someone going for a variance every single time someone needs to file a sign. The difficulty with that is a lot of the signage for some of the tenants happen on the fronts of awnings, which is just text. And then what happens is when we start getting into uniform amount of square footage, does that mean that we have to replace the awnings? At whose expense? And as a business owner and commercial property owner myself, these types of what I would consider these benign requests, let's make a master plan, the economic impact on the business owner and therefore the tenants can be, not conducive to, business. You've had to spend a couple of evenings here. I've seen you here. I was here last time. We're here a lot trying to defend a sign that is simply a shingle to allow businesses that employ people and, provide products and services to the Rhinebeck community, which is a small town.
It's just.
We need to change the laws.
I vote for Paul.
No way.
We need to change the signing law.
I would also, these signs have been in place for the last 2.5 years. We've never had a single complaint about them. If anything, people have only said positive things about the changes that we've made at the shop. And we took a lot of effort to sort of work with the right people and talk to the right people and sort of
good signs.
and pay money and time and effort. And we are a 3-person team. So yeah, it's the process feels a little bit broken, but we're just trying to do it right.
And really, the solution is to ask the town board to change the law.
Yeah.
That's really what has to happen, because we have problems with signs along that whole corridor. They're not
There's
big enough.
people who are living with outdated, ridiculously ugly signs, because as soon as they
I
go
know, they have
and
to come
apply
and see
for
it.
it, their sign gets cut in by 75%.
Well, or
Yeah.
typically they have to come and see us.
Yeah, variance, yeah, of course. But a lot of times people will just change the sign that's there and, they get hit with a variance cost. I mean, it's about $2,000 to do this. I don't know whether the public knows that, but by the time you do the escrow fees, the variance fees, the sign permit, the public mailings, the notifications, and all of that.
Terrible.
It's a lot. It's $2,000 that any of these business owners were not expecting.
So, just I haven't spoken about this with Brian, but, so what Brian was saying that he was saying that because they are trying to get on this, I apologize, they explained it with the sign master plan, they didn't go into details. I didn't know it was more about sizing of it as opposed to design. And they just said it was supposed to be so that the signs were more in unison. They didn't really go into design. So thank you for that clarification.
You can do it either way. I wouldn't recommend it because.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I have nothing to do with the sign. Like I said, this was the first I really heard about it.
Sure.
So that's why I was trying to get on top of things. But, So what Ryan Tam was saying was that, you know, thinking about that this should, what he was saying is that because they're trying to work on this master plan, that he recommended it shouldn't be approved because it would be out of conformity perhaps, is what he was saying. But I'm wondering, how far along, I know you said this year, but like how far along on the process do you think you would be, since you're kind of working on it? Like, is it gonna be like
Probably.
December?
Sorry, just
Probably
briefly,
within-
my understanding from what you guys said was not that this shouldn't be approved, was that everything.
This was my discussion with Ryan.
Oh, okay, because the letter
This
that we
wasn't on the planning
received,
board.
yeah, was basically that this all looks in accordance with sort of everything we've applied for, and seems okay, and should a master plan develop, we might have to change some things, but not that any of what we currently have is sort of like pending a master plan.
Yeah, what the planning board had said was that they recommended to go forward with the master plan. They were concerned that if you had to change it, you had to come back. I don't know how the master plan would be written.
Well,
I was just, my suggestion was that if it was gonna be soon, maybe we could ask for Brian for like, kind of like a temporary stay until the master plan is done. I don't know if that would even be a viable
You know what?
option, but that was
Who knows
just a
when
thought.
this is gonna happen?
I know, that's
No,
the thing.
that's true, we
It
don't
should be
know.
3
I
years.
guess, let's just do this. I've had enough, you know, the sign thing always gets me, my blood pressure rises. So,
You know, life is short and precious, and I want the hard hours that I'm going to be spending on ZBA talking on the sign back.
we spend less time in purgatory.
Well,
It's okay.
it's good.
Anyway,
We've got to fix this.
it's just silly. And again, it goes to the fact that we always have these problems with signs, especially along these commercial corridors, and that the law has to be changed, and the town board is the only entity that can do that. We have to deal with this thing, but we will. So, is there anybody, I may have asked this, if I did, I apologize. Anybody here for the, no, bottle shop? In support, against, whatever? Any comments?
I support it.
Excellent. You're welcome.
And honestly, like, we'll probably use Emma's signs as the template for the rest of the properties because they look good
Yeah.
and they're adequately sized, they're not ostentatious, and they're not ugly, and they're not even visible from the road.
Okay,
And he's an
Good nice job.
he's the designer.
He's a sign guy. Anyway. Okay. Any
Okay.
questions, concerns?
No,
No, okay. I'm going to close the public hearing at this point in time. So I need to make a motion to close. Do I have seconds? All in favor? Aye. Okay, what that means is that we'll probably come out and just take a look at things. And we have 62 days to render a resolution of the decision. However, it is our practice to do so at the next meeting, which will be August 20th. You do not have to be there unless you have nothing better to do than sit here for hours on Wednesday night. But we will render a decision, I'm sure, on August 20th.
I trust you.
And in the meantime, should we just call you at the bottle shop, or, you know,
I
we'll probably
think
do
my
it, maybe
cell phone
we'll,
number is on there.
is the, you want to try to do the 16th, maybe we have to do the South, after we do the South Land stuff.
Sure.
What time do you open on Saturday?
9:30.
9:30. Okay, so maybe we can get there, well, Gresham, we'll figure it out, and maybe we'll do it on the 16th of August, if that's okay.
Richard, do you get up by 9:30?
I like to run in the morning.
Run to the bottle shop.
I'll do whatever we need to do.
Just run to the bottle shop.
I'll run to the bottom.
We go to the bottle shop. So we'll probably see you on the 16th, and just a big, quick walk around.
Great.
Okay.
Do you want us to have the signs are down, like,
Leave everything the way it is, so we want to see what it looks like. Yeah.
Scott, can I ask a question?
Yes,
You
sir.
just mentioned to Emma that your ruling, she doesn't have to be present for your ruling.
I did. I did. I told her unless she's like 4 hours, mine has nothing to do with Wednesday night.
For reading the resolution.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm here for old business,
We do have some.
Connie Bathrick's signs for 3606.
Well, there's some issues there. There's
Is there?
changes, yeah.
Okay,
Huge
I'll
changes.
second.
So that's different. She does not sin like you. So,
Oh, yeah.
anyway, we'll see you 16th-ish at some point in time. All right, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
I know that you started to, you kind of had discussions throughout this. Any additional discussions you want to have on
It's
this?
fine.
So you drafted in the approval.
Draft in the affirmative, please. We can do a drive-by.
Thank you, yeah, appreciate it.
Unless, I mean, well,
I was giggling
my
about
wife
this.
will send me out to get one or something.
Yeah, it's not easy. I don't make it easy.
Yeah.
Team's great though, with the work.
Okay, that takes care of that. And next is case number 1080, and I apologize if I know your last name. Is it Watco? Wahicho. Okay, I apologize, I tried the best I could. So, is there anybody here for this application, 1080? Okay, so what we need you to do, I'm sure you've seen already, just present to us, we know you already presented for the application, but just present to us what you're asking for. And you're on camera, just explain to the public and to anybody here and to us.
Can I introduce myself?
Absolutely.
My name is Krzysztof Wawiczko. It's Polish name. It sounds strange. But I'm the owner of this property. With my wife, Eva Harabash, who is here. And we are seeking a rear yard variance for the shed that we are building. The proposed shed was under construction when we learned that the permit was requested. The construction has since been stopped. The shed is 200 square feet. It's 8 feet tall on the short end, facing the neighbor's private driveway. The tall side is 14 feet, facing towards the rear yard. The shed is 9.7 feet from the lot line, very similar to the principal building, which is 11.4 feet from the lot line. So we have this is the corner of the shed, this is the corner of the building. It's similar distance. As you can see from the photographs, the whole shed is pretty much concealed by the adjacent bushes and existing tree line. The shed will be used to store art supplies and paintings. It does not have water or permanent foundation. It will have electricity. There was not much other place to place this shed because of the slope that is there. You know, the ground is little and slope. So
if you place it somewhere
that's
else,
all we could do.
right?
Yeah.
It would be in front of the house, which would be another variance. So
There's a slope. Yeah.
It's also wetlands up front.
well, I believe, and we were talking about this, the wetland. I'm sorry. Could you state your name just for?
Sorry, I'm actually a neighbor.
Okay.
Margaret?
Okay. So you're here for this, and you can.
I'm here.
Okay.
Or
And the support
case
or ask question,
needed.
whatever. But once he gets done, I'd like to have you come up. What? You don't have to. that was my understanding as far as the wetlands, that they may not be on the property, they may be next door.
Those
that-
are up front, they typically don't mow this.
Well, maybe you can pull up the,
This is the wetlands, this is on parcel access, it could have changed, there might be another, I didn't see any wetlands nearby, not to say that there aren't, but that was just, at least officially designated ones. So the little green hatched area, these are listed as federal wetlands. There was no DEC wetlands that showed up on parcel access, which is just the source that I use, and then this little area right here, this is like a flood zone, but again, wasn't needed.
So there's no problem with wetlands?
If you, before they have the shed, since I'm the neighbor, the front part never gets mowed because it's always underwater.
So it's a wet area.
It's a wet area, yes.
Oh, no, that's right.
If I can explain, I'm Mark McDonough, I'm supporting.
okay, and everybody will
I
get
can,
a chance.
I can explain what you're trying to talk about with the wetlands.
Okay, come on up then, and if you don't mind, if that's okay.
If we,
And again, could you state your name and the address?
Mark McDonough,
Okay.
I can explain what they're saying with the wetlands. There's a lake right there, or a large pond across the street. Everything, this whole area here is a marsh.
Marsh.
It's all marsh growing. The man back here made a pond. This whole area here is a full pond sitting there. And drainage comes down from here. There's a drainage going across here. It drains into this area. So it's time for another drainage down this way. But meanwhile, this whole area here is pretty much marsh. Got willows, got pretty much 3 seasons out of the year, it's wet. And then this whole area here is septic. And then the shed is here primarily covered by a tree line here. And from this point right here is the well.
The well.
The well is right
So
here.
it's very hard to
And
move
then from
this
this
shed
point
any
here
further.
is 30 feet west, all the way around this whole area.
Thank you,
Thank you.
that was fantastic.
Thank you. Sorry.
And so there was just kind of, it may not be an official wetlands, but it's wet.
It's wet, it's marsh. You go into it, your boots come off.
It is.
Put it down.
Marshy. And we're going to go out and we'll take a look, so,
Okay.
but thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Yes, ma'am.
Plus, you're supposed to not build anything in front of the house. So
Well, I mentioned that already, yeah, that's another variance if you build something in front of the
here,
house.
and you actually don't see it from the road, which will be the biggest problem, that you see it somehow. And currently, it's not really visible from anywhere.
And did you state your name for the record? If you
Yes, I did.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Could you say it again, please? I'm sorry.
Margaret,
Margaret?
Ada Hopper, I know the lady there. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I know
Kimberly.
Thursday.
Okay, that's good.
We need to have for the record names and addresses and all that stuff. And this is very helpful, by the way. Thank you.
No, we were all surprised and felt very, because poor folks have a tiny house, tiny piece of land, and they have no space for their equipment. And the two artists traveling the world, very famous by the way, and this little shed behind the house, and it's just one neighbor with that driveway who, for some reason, doesn't somehow like it, but
Well, they need a variance, and that's where you're from. If it makes sense, we.
Thank you
if
so
they-
much.
Did that neighbor send a letter?
I don't think about anything.
We have no
Okay.
idea how it came to us, but it came to the zoning enforcement officer, and he saw that he didn't have this required setback, and we're here, so we'll take care of it.
Okay.
I don't know, is there any other slides you want to show? And it's really for the public. Yeah.
This was just showing more maps.
Oh, that's what he was talking about there.
All right, anybody else want to be heard? I appreciate everybody helping out here.
it's actually cool design. So the house was really horrible at first, even the front house, and they did really cool design, cool color scheme, very geometric. And Mrs. Mazzarella will be proud of this house and the shed.
All right, questions? No? Okay, then I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 So we will come out, I'm not sure if the 16th is going to be tight. Are you going to be around August 16th? It sounds like you travel a lot, but you're around for August 16th? Okay, well, we'll get out there. I'm sure it's going to be pretty easy. We don't take long. We come out, we just see where it is, and that's that. So Gretchen will help schedule with you what time we'll be out. We'll have to figure that out.
How are you going to the south?
Well, Southlands will probably be an hour or more.
In case the neighbor will be there.
Huh?
In case the neighbor will be there.
Okay, you'll be there?
I could be right. From one house over.
Well, we'll figure it out, but we'll get it done on the 16th. I closed the public hearing, so that means that we have 62 days in order to give you a resolution. As I said before, we don't wait that long. We usually do it by the next hearing date, which will be the 20th of August. You do not have to be here to listen to the resolution. If you want to, you can come, but most people don't.
We all want to come.
You want to come?
Yeah.
Great. Keep
This
us
is
company.
We like it here because
nice.
of the thorough character of all of the discussion here and taking into account everybody's voice, points of view. It's really interesting to be part of.
Thank you.
Sounds like a democracy.
Don't we live in? Yes, I think we do live in a democracy. No,
Fully functioning.
and the nice thing here is that this has been great. Again, it's not, we don't always have some ugliness, but everybody's been very respectful and pleasant and everything else. And this is great, and everybody needs to have their voice heard. That's what we want. So
Very accommodating.
we try to be. We try to be. It's you guys who allow us to be. So thank you very much. So we'll come out on the 16th and come on out on the 20th. The more the merrier. You get lonely sometimes here.
We'll be here.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's just
Yeah, any discussions from you guys?
it's fine. It's where it should be. It has to be. Subject obviously to the site inspection.
It's just so hidden. It's fine.
Okay, so next up is 1081 Jennifer Joseph. Come on up.
I wasn't sure if I was supposed to give the newspaper and receipts and.
Oh, two.
Okay.
I have that, yeah.
But I also have the updated permit.
Yes, I think you said that.
No, it's the old one. I was asked.
Oh, I think you did not.
I think they said it was updated. Did you send me the updated one? I think I sent it. Did I? With the banner on there? No.
This one, right, from June?
Okay. You nailed it.
Okay, so you see the way this runs? Yes. And so is there anybody here for this application? No? Cool. Okay, what we need you to do is really just take us through the application like you did the last time around for the public, and in case somebody doesn't want to say something. So if you just go through the application, we know obviously about it, but please take us through.
My name's JJ. I bought a house with a old pool that was, as you might remember, mostly ducted. So I got a permit to put in a new pool, which over last summer and this summer I managed to do, but was ultimately told that I needed a variance for the deck and the small cabana because it is in front of my home. There's also a wetland next to the area, which has been delineated and given approval by the DEC, the old permit and the now updated one that covers everything. Yeah, it's only visible to one neighbor half the year who just told me that they love the rendering and were happy for me to go ahead. I was told to mail like 9 people the notice, but only those people are the 500 feet, but needless to say, no one else showed up, so that worked out well. Yeah.
Is that in the same spot as the old pool?
Yes, it is almost the exact same footprint, give or take 20 feet, I think.
Okay, same size?
Same size, everything. Doesn't encroach any further on the wetland than the old pool did.
Was there a deck?
There was a deck.
And the new deck, is that similar in size?
It's basically all the same thing, just at the far end where the machinery is going to be a small, like 3-wall cabana for shade and mosquitoes. Not for them, to get away from them.
Ooh, this looks much better.
Less duct tape.
Now, the only fly in the ointment, as far as I can see, is that we did get a letter from the planning board. Did you see that?
Yes, do you want me to pull it up?
Yeah.
Did you see
Did
it?
you get a letter from the planning board? We got a letter from the, we have to refer things out to the planning board every single application.
Yes.
Sometimes we get
So they did
innocuous
raise
letters,
some-
other times we get less innocuous letters. This
In
is
the
a more.
most polite way possible, it was kind of word soup to me. I read it like 20 times, and I wasn't entirely sure
What it said.
and what they were saying that I had, like something about like they want me to get approved by the DEC, but they don't totally trust the DEC, so they wanted,
It's not, I don't think that's the question. So in January 1st, 2025, there was like a massive overhaul
Of course
of
there
wetlands delineation. So I think that they understand that you've been working with DEC and that you got delineation. They just want to verify that that's still good. I know that you just sent the modified permit, so it sounds like you've been working with DEC this whole
yeah,
time.
the modified one is from 2 months ago, I think.
Yeah, so it's possible, I don't know, if the planning board might not have had that, but I think that was their main concern. They just wanted it, they know that you've been working with it, they just wanted it verified.
Right.
But they do, so there's DEC wetlands, and DEC is responsible for certain permits.
Right.
Town of Rhinebeck has their own wetlands law.
Right.
And so what the planning board also said was that they would need a wetlands permit from the planning board if you're within 100 feet of the buffer. Similar to DEC, but instead of from the state, you also need it from the planning board as well. And also, I think, site plan review for the cabana. That's,
Like I said, but like, couldn't I have known this a year and a half? Like, I don't understand, now I have to go,
I mean, this
I don't
is-
understand
Well,
the-
that's what they had made, I don't know, I mean, I haven't looked at the determination letter and since the last time I reviewed it, so I know, I can't remember if the determination letter mentioned that or not, it might not have.
It
Sometimes
just
doesn't have to,
mentioned
but
the
variance.
guest cottage, whatever thing
Yeah,
about.
so,
It
well,
says-
that's what.
It says the application has not been submitted to the planning board for review, and the board respectfully requested a decision by the ZBA be held until such time as the planning board has been able to more thoroughly review the application through the site plan review process and provide a follow-up response.
Yeah, it's
Well, they responded,
perfectly
right?
clear.
If planning board review and approvals are found to be required.
They say I haven't applied to them, but I mean, was I supposed to? I don't understand how I'm supposed to.
We just do variances.
Come on, man, can't you explain everything
You know,
to me?
she really doesn't know what to do, is what she's saying.
Well, I've done, Gretchen can back me up here, I have done everything. Each time I come in, they're like, oh, by the way, and I'm like, fair enough. But I was basically, it was implied that this was like the last, like, it's in front of your house, get them to say it's okay, and you're done. This is 2 years now that I've been trying to put a deck around my pool. So I'm just kind of like, I'm sorry, now I have to apply to the plan, like, hi, why? How was I supposed to know that? Why now?
If I may, and Scott, let's start, correct me if I'm wrong.
Please.
The application is to the ZBA. So, and how many variances are there?
One, I think. Just-
One variance.
Just in front.
Just one.
And so, the application is not to the planning board.
Well, what the planning board referral is saying is that they raised questions that should be in front of the planning board for a wetlands permit under local law and site plan review, because I guess when so you said that you purchased the property with the pool and the deck, and which was approved, but by adding the cabana, she's changed the site
No,
plan.
the deck wasn't approved.
But you added the cabana, certainly that wasn't approved previously.
No, sorry, no, yes, you're correct.
Right, so because she had gotten approvals for the pool, I guess she had gotten,
So that's one variance.
well, the variance.
There's the confusion, I wasn't,
Let Kim.
Fair enough.
So what the planning board is saying is that because of this location to the wetlands, under the town of Rhinebeck wetlands law, she needs a wetlands permit from the planning board. Okay.
So
So-
one variance.
so one-
and
well,
then
not a
one
variance.
permit.
Yes, okay, so
Okay.
let's start with the first. So she's in front of the ZBA because the pool and the deck and the cabana are in front of their accessory structures that are in front of the principal house.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but just to be clear, the pool was granted, no problem.
Okay, no, I'm sorry.
No,
Okay,
but like,
the
the confusion
cabana
is fair that like I didn't need,
Let me,
sure.
So there was a pool and a deck that were previously approved, in place without a CO. It wasn't inspected.
Yes, from the previous owners.
Right. But there's a new addition, in addition to just, there was a little change to the deck, but there was also that cabana.
okay, so here's my question. So is there now two variances?
No.
Okay.
It's
There's
just
one
because
variance.
it's in front,
Yeah,
that's all.
so here's the thing. So there's one variance from the ZBA for the placement in front, that the structure is closer to the street than the principal. It's in front of the house. That's just your jurisdiction right here. What the planning board is raising is that there are permits required from the planning board that are because of the wetlands location and because the addition of the cabana was not previously approved. The pool was approved, but the cabana that is, the cabana is your, right, the cabana was, this cabana right here
Yeah,
is new. I mean, that wasn't what was originally planned and approved from the planning board whenever the pool was approved. That's a new addition.
yes, only the pool was approved.
Right, so the addition.
Without a variance.
Yes.
I mean, just, so like I didn't need a variance for that, okay. But now I do need a variance for the deck and the cabana as one, which is what I'm here for the one variance.
Right, but the addition of the cabana did not go to the planning board from what was originally approved whenever the pool was approved. So the
Right.
planning board is saying there's two approvals from the planning board that have not been applied yet because you didn't know that they needed to be applied.
But I guess my thing is, why do we have to wait? And we always give deference to the planning board. But why can't we just give our variance? The resolution we always have says it's subject to any and all other approvals we need to get from any other source, and then have her go back. At least she's done with us, and she goes back to the planning board. I mean, I do like to,
No, I mean, so one issue is,
I mean, this is not a big variance.
no, it's not. And I understand, and sometimes this happens too, and it's just that we've had it here.
I wish I
understand,
understood
Yeah,
better so I could do it better.
yeah, I don't know why this wasn't caught up before, like I said, I just read the application.
But I won't hold you personally
No,
responsible.
but, I mean, it even happens sometimes at the zoning board, where, remember, there's a few cases where we've issued a variance, and then it turns out we needed another variance, and, you know, sometimes it does happen. And the town, you know, when they do catch a mistake, they are allowed to correct their mistakes. So I don't know where the ball fell. I'm just saying what the most recent not store, I don't mean to say story, that's just the wrong word, but the most recent, coming out is that
Jennifer knows she has to go back to the plan.
Although that was news to me,
Okay, but it's news to you, but you now you know, and that's.
and I don't totally understand why though.
I don't, it has nothing to do with us, but I guess my thing is, on something as simple as this.
Well, because, you know, I mean, you can, I suppose, grant a variance, but she wouldn't be able to build it.
Of course you
Until-
can, because our resolution says that we give the variance, but it's subject to any.
And of course,
law
the
or-
benefit, of course, to keeping this open, if you do need a variance, you know, I don't know, maybe can you talk to Brian Tam? I know that that's probably.
No, Brian, you know, had.
Said you just needed a
Well,
variance.
no, he sent me on this journey and, you know, kind of told me some of the things I needed to do, and I've been kind of trying to do each thing as it comes up. I got the permit for the pool last summer. I applied for the cabana and the deck the beginning of this summer. I was told that I needed to get a variance. So here I am over the past 3 months, and who knows how many thousands of dollars applying for this variance. And now here I am, right at the end of it, and I get a letter that, no offense, makes no sense, that I need to be held up and go back to the planning board that I didn't go to in the first place because I didn't know I needed to. So I really just want to do what's right and be a good neighbor and follow, but I need someone to just tell me what I need to do coherently and in order. Because this is 2 years of my life now, which is fair, fine, whatever, but please just tell me what I need to do so I can be done. This letter made no sense to me.
The frustration, if I may, is far between. And
Well, what's needed sometimes, I have to say, because I go through it myself, what's needed as far as wetlands and the approvals and all the questions that are asked about some of these things, I can't do it. I hire, in this case, Warren Smith. Warren Smith does it. Now, that costs me money, but I'm just a regular person, and I know all of this stuff, but I can't do that. I'm just a layman. It's very frustrating. I hear it, and I don't know what to say. I mean, other than, you know,
it concerns
hire
me.
someone.
I know what concerns me is, again, it's the 11th hour.
Yeah.
We're thinking that we're going to move forward with granting this one variance after a site visit. And now.
And I mean, I understand that, and sometimes that, unfortunately, that does happen. I mean, like I said, I don't know where,
But it shouldn't happen.
if there was a mistake or where that mistake came from.
Like, for example, with the Southlands thing, it's really a complex thing, we understand. I have no problem giving deference, that makes sense. Here, this is a very simple thing, she can't do anything, even if we give the variances, until she goes back to the plan. So,
Yeah,
why hold this
so
up?
my only statement that I wanted to say was that in addition, you know, to just making sure that she could build it, the other benefit to keeping it, if, you know, if going in front of the planning board and the ZBA at the same time, is that if there's any changes that are made from the planning board, not saying they will, I'm just saying,
But then
if
she
there,
has to come.
but then, well, I was saying is that then she would be able to amend it or work it, in it, that's all. And I don't, you know, so anyway. I
Oh,
just
you're
wanted
saying
to-
keeping it open, unless you wouldn't have to start from scratch coming back to us.
Yes.
Let me, if I may, and I know you probably don't want to hear this, but the cabana, when were you planning on constructing?
Sorry?
When were you planning on constructing the cabana?
Well, what year is it now? I was, you know, theoretically thinking I was going into the summer to build a deck and cabana in time for, you know, yesterday, but okay, so then it's like before it gets too cold, before next season, you know, at this point, I don't care, I just want the paperwork done.
May I
Okay,
make a
so
su-
what about this? What about if Urbana for a time being. And
Well, I think that's still gonna raise a concern about the wetlands permit.
Right at the beginning of all this, when I found out that the banner was gonna cause me problems, I tried splitting it and saying, can I just build a deck and I will deal with the cabana? Apparently that wasn't an option, so
Why was that not an option?
Well, I could,
Sorry.
the reason is that, so, I know this is a type 2 action in front of the ZBA because it's an area variance, but if it, for other reviews and stuff, they don't want to have it so that, like, when you have an approval, that it's done, it's, you know, segmentation, right? You want to know, like, when you build out something, you want to know exactly what you're building up so that you can review the project as a whole and not just like little bits and pieces, little crumbs that all of a sudden become a big problem. That's the reason why, if you know you're going to be building something, you need to be able to disclose it for the benefit of reviewing it in
And the
full fashion.
wetlands, sorry, the wetlands configurations, the maps changed in 2025. Is that-
Well, I don't,
Well,
to
it
be
sounds like she's
honest,
okay with the DEC.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
unless it
I mean,
changed 2 months ago.
yeah, so I don't know,
There's a-
I
there's a lot
don't,
of
they
quantities.
might not have seen
But
that
the
you've been
town-
working with the DEC, I don't know what the concern
she's
is
okay
with the
with
wetlands in the
DEC?
jurisdiction,
The
because
town.
to me, it looks like you have been in touch with
That's up to
DEC,
the
they modified your wetlands.
planning board.
I'm just referring to what
Yeah.
what the thing was saying, but I think that that's
Can't
the
go
big.
over it, you're not in trouble.
No, I just want to explain it, I feel bad, and I just
No,
want to be able to
it's hardly
explain
your
it.
fault.
Kim,
But
Kim,
I
what's
just
your
wanna say-
suggestion? You were gonna make a suggestion.
So what I was gonna say is,
Yeah.
why don't we kind of like, let's start a general preliminary deliberations from you. I would say, let's keep the public hearing open, let's talk with Brian, okay, Brian Tam, maybe we can try to get on the same page, see what she needs, see if she actually does need to go in front of the planning board. The planning board just said we think she does, let's just
So,
confirm,
well-
you know, understand what it is.
So what we could do is we can keep it open, we can close it next meeting and have the resolution ready.
Assuming, and,
So you don't lose any
or,
time.
you know, let's try to find out what permits we need,
Yeah.
let's try to get on the same page,
tell me
we'll try
what
to
to do.
break it down.
Well, good suggestion.
And then, let's get on the same page, take a breath, you know, and then we'll have it open in case we need to keep it open. And then maybe we can, you know, if she needs to go in front of the planning board, we can discuss that option too. But this way, everyone, both planning board, ZBA, the applicant, building department, we're all on the same page. We would have the resolution done anyway next week, or next month, so it's not like we're losing time. Let's just try to
We'll keep the
sort
public
what's
hearing
out.
open, and then hopefully we'll be
And
able
we'll
to
be able
close it on the
to
20th
provide
and give you a resolution.
instructions, and then when we come back next month, we'll be able to figure out, of course, whether it's resolution or whether it's holding it open until.
You're not in front of the planning board yet.
Well, that's what the problem is, she doesn't know what is needed. and
Are you gonna talk to Brian?
I'll talk to Brian.
Okay.
And I'll talk to
That's where we
Jim
are.
Levy, who wrote
Okay,
this.
good.
Let's all try to just get on the same page, and try
Yeah,
to break this
tell
down.
me what I need to do and I'll do it.
Okay, so that's what I suggest, let's keep it
So,
open.
all
You
right.
need to wait for Kim.
That's why Kim gets the big
That's right,
bucks.
that's why Kim gets paid.
You guys are just the pretty faces.
Whoa! You better go see a doctor or an eye doctor.
What?
Anyway,
Thank you.
all right, well, I apologize for your frustration.
That's all right.
For what it's worth, I'm going to make a motion to keep the public hearing open until August 20th.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'll keep the public hearing open,
Okay.
and then hopefully we'll close it on the 20th when Kim works her magic, and we'll have a resolution for you. You're not losing any time, because even if we closed it tonight,
I mean,
you wouldn't have a
times
resolution.
stopped
Well,
being
yeah,
a
but-
thing a while ago, so that's fine. I just want
But
to be
we'll,
done.
and if for some reason it turns out that you do need to go in front of the plan, we'll be able to discuss it,
Yeah.
make a plan going forward.
Yeah, just thank you, thank you, thank you. Really appreciate it.
And I
Thank you.
apologize.
It's not your fault.
Site visit.
Oh, yeah, like, you want to keep going, I mean, move it
Thanks for looking at that.
Their own,
What'd you think?
site visit.
yeah, 16th. We have a
Yeah, I
lot
think
on.
so. It's-
You're gonna have like a full day.
We can do that.
Come at the end, I have tequila.
Okay.
No, Brian.
Just getting back from vacation.
Can't do that. Don't do that on, Steve, you get rid of that?
Edit that out.
Rewind.
You want to see your house?
Yes.
I'm on my 31st.
2 seconds.
Really? Oh, hi, I'm JJ. Ooh, I'm so sorry.
We'll try to do it on the 16th.
Oh, did you get a letter from me saying that you could see me?
Jennifer, is the 16th,
Sorry.
is the 16th okay for us to come out and
Of
Probably
permits?
around your property.
Whenever it is, I'll fire them, I'll move, yeah, yes.
It'll be, it's a Saturday, but that's when we're doing all these other ones.
August
At least we can
16th.
get August.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
And
Thank
then
you all.
we'll set it up. Well, Rachel will take care of it.
She loved my emails.
Great.
So the board, assuming we're going to talk to Brian, we're going to talk to the planning board.
Fine.
Your initial thoughts, though?
Fine. Well, what about you two? What was the question?
What do you generally think of it if we're able to move forward with a resolution? Your thoughts?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think we should move along with it. I see nothing wrong with it.
All righty. Napolitano, is there a reason here for that?
Yes.
Ah. Case number 1082.
Hope you brought pictures of food.
I still have the presentation. If you want to look at my phone, it's funny.
So,
Napolitano.
Okay, great.
You're representing my property, 1094
Were you
308.
here last? Did you close?
Were you here last month?
You
Yes.
closed?
Yeah,
Oh, so you closed?
close.
Okay.
Not doing anything.
Oh, so we won't see Denise and John anymore.
They offered to come in support, but they're behind us all the way. And they were one of the people we sent the letter to, so they're our direct neighbor as well. But I'm here representing my property.
Is there anybody here with the Napolitano matter? I doubt it, but I just figured I'd ask. Okay, so give us the
Yes,
Cliff Note version.
The Cliff Notes version is
Now that
I
everybody's-
purchased this property at 1094 Route 308 with the intention of opening a restaurant in Sonny's, and wood-fired pizza, handmade pasta, and a wonderful Neapolitan setting. The property has historically been a restaurant. It's set up as a restaurant, and I intend to use it as a restaurant.
And I've been on the board for over 20 years, so I know it's been a restaurant for forever. And ultimately, we did give a series of, it became a non-conforming use.
Yes.
And we extended that
Well,
multiple times.
It's, so, just for clarity, so, because that's, the phrasing has been used a lot. So, it had been a non-conforming use after zoning. It had been a restaurant, it had been non-conforming use after zoning. The way the zoning law is written is that after a year of non-use, it loses its non-conforming use and therefore becomes illegal. So what happened was that when Sophia had expired the non-conforming use, she came to the board in 2014 for a use variance. So what a non-conforming use is that it's a use that was allowed at one time, is not allowed currently, but it's allowed to continue, as long as it's continued to be used in that way. What a use, well,
It can't
what
stop.
happens was that if you have to have it continually used, once you stop using it for that non-conforming use in Rhinebeck, some towns have it 2 years, some towns don't have anything on it, but in Rhinebeck, it's after a year of non-use, it converts that it has to be then a conforming use. It has to be something that is permitted by zoning. What a use variance is that it's a request to use the property in a use that is not allowed from a use variance. And so we've been talking about use variances in this meeting. So in 2014, that use variance was granted for a restaurant use. And one of the conditions in that approval was that if it was not used for commercial purposes in a year, it would lose its use variance. So in 2015, Sophia came and renewed it. 2016, she came and renewed it because she wasn't using it. And then Red Crew bought it in 2017. It was a restaurant for till 2021. Then Upstate Down bought it and used it as a kind of like a hybrid restaurant. So that's what it had a use variance. But then Upstate Down hadn't been able to utilize it for a restaurant. They had an event in August, wasn't really a restaurant use, so they lost that. So now we're here to renew the use variance again. So I just want to because it is a difference in terms of legal standards as to what it is. So what it is for a renewal of the use variance.
Right. Yes.
So,
Yeah, what she said.
What she said, and I'd love to open a restaurant here in Rhinebeck.
And we'd love to see that.
yeah, and you guys had an interpretation in 2023 that it was, because the use variance had used commercial, but you had decided that the intention of that use variance was specifically for restaurants. So because the use variance had expired, Mr. Napolitano was here seeking a renewal of that use variance.
As a restaurant.
As a
Only.
restaurant, yes.
Yeah. And we don't want to have any, we don't want to see commercial because we don't want to.
Right, because it was specific, the
Just a
history,
restaurant.
yeah, in
The history
the,
goes back.
yeah, in the appeal that you had
30 years.
done in 2023 really lays out the whole history of that.
I have no questions.
Okay, so, I guess we have to make a motion to close the hearing.
And open a restaurant.
And open the rest. Well, no, that's okay. So I make a motion that we close the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So we have 62 days to render a decision. We'll do it by the 20th.
Actually, we have.
Oh, we have it tonight for tonight?
Yeah, because this was kind of a renewal.
Okay, good.
We'll do it after.
After we're done?
after-
Okay.
Okay.
All right, great.
That's it.
Good.
So I'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Stay tuned.
So just a little clarification. So when we had first started doing this is kind of what we had discussed about with Mr. Staley in the beginning, with the use variance. So initially, because the use variance is usually an unlisted action, so we had classified it as last meeting. But again, I think that we should change that to a type 2 action based on that 617.5C2, which is again replacement, rehabilitation, and reconstruction of a facility in kind. Nothing's being built, but it's being reused, rehabilitated for that restaurant. So by a type 2 action, we wouldn't have to do seeker, and that's again, there's really no impact, there's no environmental impact because it's been a history of a restaurant, there's no additional construction being done. So anyway, I leave that to you, but that was me, my recommendation.
We have to make a motion to do that. Okay, so
I would make a motion to rescind the unlisted action, second vote, and then a motion to classify it as type 2 under 617.5C2. Motion, second.
I adopt your explanation.
Okay.
So we'll do that.
So-
All in favor?
Well, I'd say motion to rescind,
Motion to rescind.
unlisted, yeah.
All in favor?
Well, you said second.
Okay. Make the motion, second.
Second.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Then the motion, make it up to type 2 under 617, whatever. Make that motion, second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Done. Okay. And we do have the resolution here, I think. Yeah. Yeah, mine. Okay. All right, and then finally we have, under public hearing, we have Nick again, Nick Staley on, this is under your first application for the interpretation.
Okay?
Okay?
I'll let you know I'm an hour past my bedtime.
Okay.
As a matter of note, I don't know if it means anything, but you can tell me. Staley Real Estate has operated out of my building continuously since 1985, when Dad moved the license from 51 East Market Street to 400 Route 308. All of my agents are licensed out of 400 308, and coming and going as customers for 50 years.
Right, but that's not
That
the,
means it's a commercial property to me.
okay, but that was not the,
That's not the issue here.
that's not the issue here.
Right. The issue here is that this short-term rental is not at my primary residence,
Right,
and that the RV cannot be used if you have one on your property. Those are the two things. We've had 2 public hearings on it, and there's been no negative comments to my knowledge, 1 positive letter, and I don't believe there's anyone here tonight.
is there anybody here on the Stanley map? No. All right, well, it's just a matter of us interpreting the law, and we have to follow the law. And that's really what it comes down to. And it's a new law that's been, I don't know when it was adopted, but.
It's 2018 or 2020.
That long ago?
Well, oh no, you know what, I can probably pull it up. It's recent.
But we have, Scott, we have, your folks are here to make exceptions to the law, as long, that's on something that's not damaging the community.
Well, that's not exactly right, but it's, we.
Then
give
why do you have
variance
public
to-
hearings?
Because we want to hear what the public has to say, but an interpretation is different. Variances are one thing, okay, interpretations are different. And we are quasi-judicial board, and we have to take the facts and apply them to the law to see if, in fact, Brian's determination was appropriate. That's what our job is on the interpretation.
So it doesn't matter if it's a positive thing for the community or a negative thing for our community. It's all about Brian, interpretation.
It has
of the
nothing to
law.
do with Brian, and please, don't say anything bad about Brian.
I
He's just doing his
understand
job,
that.
and I admonished you the last time about that, all right? I will not have people talking bad about the public.
I didn't say anything bad about Brian.
Okay?
You
So-
just said that it was a matter of Brian interpreting the law.
Yes, correct. And then you ask us to take a look at it to say, hey, is this appropriate? Does this make sense?
There's no doubt that what I'm doing is not to code. That's why we have a CBA, to make exceptions to the code.
If it's appropriate.
Right. Right.
If it's appropriate.
If it's negative or if it's harmful to the community,
That's-
that you should block it.
That's not entirely the standard, and the
Okay.
bottom line is we have this law, and you don't meet it on multiple levels. Now, we have to consider all of the factors, and you also have the use variance issue, but that's something separate. So,
I'll have an issue with that because of the commercial operations that's been going on there for 50 years.
So I would just to clarify, just because, so this public hearing is the interpretation aspect. So that's what Scott is saying, is that this is, we're interpreting what the zoning law is written and interpreting Brian's determination. That's just what this is. So this is just interpreting what the law says. The use variance, which is what we talked about in the beginning, that's the ability where the ZBA can grant variances. So it's kind of step one, step two. So step one is just interpreting the notice of violation that you received and determining if that's correct. And that's what the ZBA is discussing now. If they determine that that you are in violation, that upholding Brian's determination, that's going to be when step two comes in, which is your use variance, which is what the public hearing is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any questions. I think we have plenty of information. I don't know if you guys. Questions, concerns? Nobody in the public? Okay. All right. And I'll close the public hearing. And I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay. We have 62 days to make a determination. We will do it by the next meeting, which is August 20th.
And then this is just for the.
Just for this.
So I just want to just
And there'll
explain.
be a public hearing for the other.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Got it.
Got it. Okay.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thanks for doing this. I know it's not an easy job.
It's the pay. That's why we do it.
All right, have a good night, everybody, if I can make it to my car.
We'll drive, don't fall asleep on the way home.
So, I know, Scott, you just started saying that it doesn't need it, so do you want to elaborate on that? You want to let somebody
It's
know?
it's not close. It violates the law, so on multiple levels, so it just, to be clearly president, et cetera. I think the determination of Brian is correct. And again, we'll deal with the use variance thing down the road, but as far as the interpretation, I think Brian's, it's just my opinion, Brian's interpretation is correct, and he applied the law correctly. That's my opinion.
I think you should be allowed to do that. I think it's appropriate. It's a great spot. It's appropriate. I don't think it's hurting anything. I understand just how
This is, so Richard, though, this is.
I wasn't
this
disagreeing with you, I
is-
don't think he's hurting anybody and all
Yeah,
that.
so
It's
Richard,
the
think
law
of
is
it
the law.
this way, this first step is just interpreting it, the law is, if there's a violation of the law. The use variance discussion will be next month, but just so you, that's what I was saying to Nick, is that there's, like, step one,
So
step
maybe
two.
we can, so we're all in agreement on that.
No, we don't have to be. This is just my opinion, and that's his opinion.
No, but the law is the law, we see it the same way, I mean,
The law
I'm
is
just
passed
being
for
a
right or
little,
wrong.
I'm just going a little, seeing it another way, that's all.
Yeah, and as I said, this is the interpretation aspect of it, so this is just interpreting what the law says and how it's been applied by Ryan as the zoning enforcement officer. Nick has also applied for a use variance. Now, again, a use variance is a little bit, it's very hard to get. And, I know the 2014 has a very the one that we just did had a very complicated history of it. But I'll send you around the Department of State, just, it kind of really breaks down what you should be looking for when you're looking at for a use variance and stuff. It is harder to get because think of it as an area variance is like changing the dimensionals, like it's something like 100 to 50, but it's still allowed. Whereas a use variance is saying something's not allowed and now you're allowed. That's why it's a harder standard to meet.
Thank you.
And then Joe can be consultant on this, obviously, too.
Yeah, and
Who could it?
Joe. No,
The-
yeah,
Oh, that guy.
okay.
And of course, as your attorneys, we can always have attorney-client meetings whenever you want to talk about anything. They're privileged, confidential discussions. You don't just discuss any business, and it's just to ask legal questions and to provide legal advice. It's not such a, doesn't have to be an open meeting setting, but just, that's always available.
Thank you.
So that takes care of the public hearings. And while it's not on old business, we do have a resolution for Napolitano. Can we do that first, just before people go home?
That'd be great.
Oh,
I was gonna ask if you want to do that one and then the one for.
yeah, there's two people that are still here.
Because
People who are here,
they've been
yeah.
here since the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
So who wants
These chairs need cushions.
They are not comfortable.
You guys forget, you got the good chairs.
So I don't know whoever you want.
I can
These
read it.
are the quicker.
I can read it. It's just for the
Which one are
record.
we doing?
Napolitano.
Thank you, sir.
What do you want to make this yours?
Thank you for reading this. So we can get that.
Oh, okay.
So,
Now, these are.
Fast.
Huh?
Scott.
so these resolutions have been posted online.
Right.
They've been circulated to the board. I'm assuming you all have a chance to read them.
Yeah.
So with that said, because they have been posted, we can just kind of skip to the back.
We'll get to the,
Just a quick note, I did, for Napolitano, I did adjust the seeker discussion, just adding that type 2
Right.
action, assuming that you agreed with that. And there's some blanks on the public hearing in case we had any comments. I'll just say that there was no public comment and the public hearing was closed on July 16th.
so shall I read the punchline?
Yes.
Okay. Now therefore be it resolved, this is the resolution of the Town of Rhinebeck Zoning Board of Appeals in the matter of the use variance renewal application of Alexander Napolitano, ZBA case number 1082. Now therefore be it resolved based on all the facts described above and upon the reason described above as follows. Section 1, the ZBA hereby grants the use variance renewal request by the application for the continued use of the property as a restaurant/bar. Section 2, the applicant's property is in the RC5 zone located at 1094 Route 308, Rhinebeck. Tax parcel 135089-63710055576000. Section 3, the previous owner, Sophia, oh my word, thank you, had purchased the property in February of 2002 and converted the existing bar to a restaurant that operated under the name Diaspora. It became Ito's Sushi in 2011 and closed its doors on August 31st, 2012. In 2017, Ms.
Papacostanis.
Thank you, sir, sold the property to Grand Cru, which operated the property as a restaurant bar. Grand Cru continued operating as a restaurant bar on the property until December of 2021. Section 5, Upstate Down Properties LLC purchased the property in May 2022 and operated under the use variance pursuant to the findings and determination of CBA case number 1046, section 6. The board has no reasonable expectation that if the request for a use variance were to be denied, that the property would be viable converted to a residential only use. Section 7, there were no objecting property owners or anyone else from the community who objected to the application. 8, the zoning board of appeals has received communication from the planning board relative to the application. Excuse me. The planning board has found no problem and recommended the ZBA use its discretion. Section 9, the board has determined that the proposed use variance will be consistent with the prior use of the parcel and in keeping with the nature of the neighborhood, which has commercially used parcels nearby. Section 10, for the life of the use variance, the restaurant/bar used on the property by the applicant, any successors in ownership of the property shall comply with the following definition of restaurant, taken from Rhinebeck zoning law, section 125-135, which states, an establishment licensed by the Dutchess County Health Department where food and drink is prepared, served, consumed, and sold primarily within the principal building or its outdoor terrace or patio area. The term restaurant shall not include a fast food establishment as defined herein. A bar or pub that also serves food shall be considered a restaurant. Section 11, the granting of this variance in no way obviates the need of the applicant to obtain additional permits and approvals, including but not limited to planning board approval if required. Section 12, the use variance shall not be construed as prohibiting the property from being lawfully used by any commercial use that is otherwise permitted in the RC5 zoning district subject to required approvals. Section 13, accessory uses customarily associated with a restaurant use such as displaying artwork or featuring an artist, live music, a small sports court, or renting out a building for a special event on occasion are permitted with a restaurant use. However, at all times, the restaurant use of the property shall be focused around the preparation, service, consumption, and sale of food and drink, primarily within the principal building or its outdoor terrace or patio area. Section 14, if restaurant use of this property ceases for 1 calendar year, this variance shall become null and void without any action of the ZBA. That covers it nicely. The main thing is it's a restaurant only, it's a restaurant only, it's a restaurant only. And that's where it's always been.
Right.
So I think it's the right call. Any thoughts, concerns?
No.
What? Comments?
No comments.
So barring,
It's getting late, I'm telling you.
barring anything happening, I don't have to come back here for any variances moving forward unless the restaurant ceases to be for some reason.
Yeah, so-
You're good unless it ceases for a year.
Right.
I put it, because I don't know if you need any planning board approvals, you might not.
I don't believe I do.
You might not because you're not really changing anything, but that's why I just, this is just
It's
granting
boilerplate, we throw it in all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so just double check that, but the only thing I would say is just as in the past, if, if you're getting to that year, you haven't started it yet, just come back and we'll just do this whole process over again.
Okay. I don't think that'll happen, but
Congratulations.
thank you very much.
Gretchen, would you be collected?
Wait, you haven't made a motion.
Oh, that's right.
That's
They're all phones.
I'm all phones. We really shouldn't have this much stuff on this. It's really-
Never-
Well,
I don't think we've ever had one
hopefully
this
it's
late.
No.
It's
All right.
been an
So motion?
I make a motion that we adopt the resolution as read and with the corrections that Kim mentioned at the beginning.
Second.
All in favor? Or Kimberly? Not Kimberly. Gretchen. Kimberly's on the other side. Gretchen.
Scott,
Everybody. Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
and Brian.
Yes.
Joe is absent.
Open your restaurant.
Thank you very much.
Well, I did that meeting once ago, so we have one
I'll do
reading.
the next.
All right, we do that.
This is for,
I can't even speak.
huh?
Again, I can barely even speak.
I heard that. Yeah. Okay, so this is a resolution of the Town of Rhinebeck zoning board of appeals in the matter of area variance application of Constance and Marty Bathrick.
Well, so this one we need to talk about. Do you want to, let's.
Yeah, let's do that.
Which one, this one or not?
No, Patrick, we should do that because,
I think so, right?
yeah.
So
Is
you
it-
just submitted new, same sign size and location, but a different design.
Design, should I approach the microphone? Is that-
Yes,
Sure,
yes,
come on up.
please.
The design of the sign dates back many, many years. Marty had asked us to design this sign probably 4 years ago, maybe 5. He attempted to get the sign approved, but either he just lost momentum or just it just didn't happen. Maybe he had other priorities. Regardless, right now, the reason there's a new design is because Marty and I think the Bathrick family is, I guess just Marty, he's selling his business interest, the equipment sales and rental business to a different company. However, it's important, he's doing this in the Ulster, he has a location in Ulster County that we've done, and obviously the one in Rhinebeck, which is the subject of this meeting, but his family retains the real estate. Okay, so this is just a tenant situation. There's no transfer of ownership, there's no change of use. So you've got, he's looking to retire, good for him, wish I was there too. But essentially in the time that has passed since, we've been doing this, an opportunity to sell to H.O. Penn, which is an equipment rental place. This company is located in Poughkeepsie. They're not really from out of town. They're just kind of expanding their footprint in the Hudson Valley. I think they got about, this is probably, I think, the 5th or 6th location. And they are in the process of closing that deal this week. I thought it would be disingenuous for us not to submit that to Brian ahead of time and say, look, this is going to look different to you. The original design that we submitted had a light fixture on it, which has since been removed. That's been taken off. And to be perfectly honest with you, we updated the artwork to what the new design would be. In full disclosure, because that's the sign that's going to be permitted. We didn't want this to be a surprise.
The problem is it's so different that
It's different.
it's different, very different.
How so?
Well, you mean from this sign to the other sign, equipment
Yeah.
rentals?
Well, it meets all the guidelines. This
Well,
sign
right.
is lower.
But
I mean, the maximum height of the sign is 72. The structure is 72 inches. That has not changed. There was a lighted canopy that was not allowed within this district. You said it was going to require a use variance, which was incredibly difficult and unlikely to pass in a rural zone, so that was removed. The size of the sign is still 24 by 72. The sign has been moved up to help with visibility because it no longer has to be encumbered by the lighted canopy, which has been removed. The design of it has changed because it's different branding. As far as I'm concerned, area variance is for square footage. It has nothing to do with content, and never have we ever had the Town of Rhinebeck building inspector regulate the content on the sign. It's always been a matter of square footage.
Well, it's
So,
also what it looks like too.
well, I mean, that is the brand. I mean,
I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying it's so
And
different.
just, you heard in all of our resolutions, we also say that whatever you're approved is what you have to construct. So if we had gone forward with the resolution, it would have been whatever had been submitted, it would have been the Rhinebeck equipment. So, I mean,
this was given to me between the last meeting
And we're not blaming.
I'm
just-
explaining why we're saying it's a different sign.
Yeah, it is a different sign. That's why I submitted it.
But yeah, and that was the right thing to do.
Yeah, I mean,
for a lot of reasons.
Well, I didn't want to hamstring myself and then have to go through this process.
Yeah, and if I may, I mean, the pragmatic solution is, I mean, the sign is essentially the same, so there's going to be a new owner, and so it's not going to say Decker anymore, it's going to say somebody else.
No, this is the new sign.
This is the new sign.
That is.
This is the new.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying, whether it was Marty's business and was on there, if he,
Right.
yeah. I mean, that happens, and then
So, yeah, I think it's.
the variance
makes perfect
stays
sense
with
to
the
me.
the variance stays with the property, which the Bathurst family will retain. If for some reason Cat sells to someone else, a sign permit will be submitted. We wouldn't have to file for another area variance, right? As long as it stays
Well,
with the
I'm not
property.
saying, I don't think we're suggesting
Oh,
that we
okay.
file for another variance.
Mhm.
I think what we're suggesting as maybe a halfway point is to amend the renotice for, say, public hearing the next time around, and vote on it the next time around, just so people can see it. Because people had the opportunity to see the first time.
Mhm.
No one has seen this. No, the public has not seen this. And they haven't had an opportunity in a public hearing. That's why we have public hearings, so people can look at these things. I'm confident nobody showed up for the public hearing on the first time. I'm confident.
I know for a fact. that
Okay.
you-
However.
No, I understand.
Because
If
it's
you're
been
trying
such a
to
drag.
follow the law,
But I don't want you to go through the whole variance process either.
no, I don't
put it
think we
off
should.
on-
I don't think we should, but I would agree to that compromise.
I think it's a good,
Yeah,
what
and-
do you think?
Yeah, I think that just because it has, the design itself has changed, and like the coloring is, it's different and stuff. So I do agree with Scott that I think, we just want to just let the public see it. I think it should also just be re-referred to the planning board and, just everyone who had viewed it and gave comments to it, let's just let them see the new
Right.
design. But, so if we have the public hearing at the next meeting, we'll have the resolution drafted already so that you're not
You're
moving
not gonna lose
another
it.
month.
You'll lose a month, you'll lose 30 days. for
Assuming
change.
that there's no substantial comments from anybody.
When's the sale?
One,
When is the sale? I mean, is this contingent? Will this muck up the
Yeah.
sale?
It's happening this week.
Let's be real. Practically, it doesn't make a difference. Technically, we really should, we need to let.
Well, I think
So
that
I
there's,
would-
I mean,
Right.
one of,
I just wanted to add, that with the public hearing notice thing, would it be possible to continue the public hearing? And
Yes.
send out like an update notice?
Yes.
Without having to do the actual,
well,
I mean, you still have to do certified.
here's
To
the
the
problem,
same
you know what
people.
though? Here's the problem, is that the public hearing was closed last month.
Yeah.
So it's a reopening of the public hearing, so it's not a continuation.
So does it still have to be noticed exactly the same though, or can it be noticed as, okay. I was just,
Yeah, I understand, and that's why I was thinking that made sense, but then it's because it was closed at the last meeting that we just have to do that again.
So Kim, if I may, we're all tired, you've been here.
All night.
Yeah, so what, so the sale goes through this week, this coming week, then the new owner,
This is a new owner.
Yep, yes.
If
This
the-
is the new owner.
If
This
the
is the
sale
new
goes through, this is
The
what
new
is
owner.
being proposed.
I'm saying, but does a new, okay, so.
No,
We're
no.
not gonna
we're
go through the whole
not.
application process, we'll
No,
just,
the application will be continued, and the owner is Mr. Bathrick.
Of the property.
The property owner is the same.
Yeah, the sign
It's the
and
tenant
the
that's-
property ownership has
Yeah,
not
so
changed.
nothing needs to change,
It's
no one
leasing
needs to come in
space.
or anything like
Oh,
that.
Bathurst's
that
still gonna
in-
own the sign?
The property, yes.
Yeah, it's attached to the property. I mean,
it's just so different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd
we
have to
gotta
say
do
one
something
thing. Yes. You immediately said there's no difference, but I know what you're talking about. You're talking about structurally and the height and all of that stuff. But visually, going down the road, comparing that other sign, which was a lot simpler in two colors and there was a lot less to read, it seems. This is really a lot different.
We know you just got it. I think we have a
I like what you did. I
compromise.
mean, I like the letter spacing on the rental store, but it's really a lot to read. Now, if that's their branding, then that's different. If that's their whole logo,
I mean, this is not a sign that I would have designed. I designed the other one because I thought it would look better. But to be honest with you, this is the way that they've branded. This is like comes from corporate from CAT, and then the franchisee or whoever owns the whatever that agency is. The CAT brand is a corporation, and this is obviously this equipment is a franchise. So whoever owns that, Mr. Decker or Mrs. Decker, they go on the left, and the rental stores that's their brand. I have no control over it. It's like any other national brand. It is the way it is, but here's like from a jurisdiction standpoint, to have the public review and comment on the content of a physical sign. Is that just because we're asking for an area variance? Because otherwise there would be a public hearing on every single sign panel that ever was
So one of the conditions, one of the factors that the ZBA is looking at is how it affects the surrounding area, which
Gotcha.
includes
Okay.
visually.
No, I just want to better understand, because my
understand.
client's
That's a
going
good
to ask, why are we going again
And
next
that's,
month?
so because of the, the visual aspect of it, and one of the questions that they have to do is how it impacts the surrounding community. Is there a change in the character of the community?
You can also tell your client that he's lucky, or she's lucky, that it's us. And if we wanted to be jerks about it, we could say, forget it, it's a new sign, new application, start from scratch.
No, I
And
mean,
we're not doing
honestly,
that.
I'm thankful for the leadership that is exhibited here at this group, because it's based on reason and understanding.
It's common sense, I mean, no
It
one
is, I
has.
love, I love you. What I'm trying to understand is like, so when I go back, I'm glad that I did this because it was batted around earlier, saying like, what does it matter? We'll just put the sign up afterwards.
Well, to be
So like, I'm
honest,
thinking to myself, I've gotten this far and it works so
That was
good.
bad.
You
I don't want to shoot
would
myself in the
have
foot.
been, you would have honestly been denied a sign permit anyway, because, and you would have had to go through this, because Brian would have said this isn't the sign that approved.
He did.
Yeah.
Jesse submitted to him, I said, send this to Brian, this is what it's gonna end up looking like, let's get it to him. And then he was confused by it, it's like, wait a minute, they already have a sign before the ZBA. And it's like, well, this is what the sign's becoming. So, I never like to change horses in the middle of the stream, but this is just outside of my control. I didn't even know it. When I started this project, I had no idea that he was selling this.
Well, that's fine, that's great.
And it's fine, it's his
And
right
it's
to
a
do so.
reasonable compromise that is 30 days.
It doesn't matter, I'll be back, I'm around, it's not a problem.
You're like a bad vegetable.
So, I know, I'm gonna be here for the foreseeable future with the number of projects. But I have one last question. I lost my train of thought, lots going on, but if for some reason the corporation or whatever, I think there may be a legal issue with him changing the tenancy and having to display the legal name of the property. There is a older sign that we're intending to take down when this new one gets installed.
Right.
Yeah, this one. Is it possible for us to just put a temporary banner on that with the legal name? It's set back.
That's
You might want
Brian's.
to talk to Brian.
You talk to
Okay.
Brian about that, yeah.
Okay, because I know that they're going to ask me, they're going to say like, well, this
There is
still
a
goes.
temporary sign.
That's what, I think there is a temporary sign, but Brian there's a temporary sign permitted, but I don't know.
Right, so
I
we
don't
may
know.
be able to
Yeah, it might
You
be
may be able to throw up
that,
something for
but-
20 or 30
All right.
days or something, whatever.
All right, yeah, I
That would be
just
very
want to be
fair.
armed with some information, so at least I don't want to be the one disrupting the transition from one to the other or jeopardizing.
You're the one who allowed it to move faster than it would normally work, probably, so.
He wants a letter that you sent.
I'll say that.
No, you guys are very reasonable. I have no issue with any of the decisions you made. I think it's just every single thing that we have to do now seems to require this process. And it just becomes cumbersome, it's a lot of time and energy.
You heard the woman before
Yeah.
with the pool and the thing.
Yeah, I feel bad for her. I mean, it's like, the other thing is navigating
I'm the
these
same
things. I
way.
do a lot of them, and fortunately I have help.
It's
But
gone
if
too
you're doing it
far.
by yourself, it's like, oh man, there's
Yeah,
so
and
much.
and you've heard me scream about the sign statute as it
Yeah.
pertains to.
I don't know what it
commercial
takes to do that, but, you know, it can be done like this. For instance, Hyde Park. I'm gonna get out of here, but, like, so for Hyde Park, it's become, every single thing needs a variance. And it's challenging, and the amount of work that you have to do to prove that you need the variance is almost impossible for a regular business owner. You have to hire an attorney, you have to hire an engineer, or you have to hire me. It's so time consuming. Like, I don't accept projects in Hyde Park unless they're already a pre-existing client. I hate to do that, but a lot of the signs are so small, and the amount of work is
Yeah.
usually 4 times the amount of the cost of the sign.
I think they're trying to make it for the sins of the 60s and 70s.
Exactly.
Maybe.
And by the way, I grew up in Hyde Park, so.
But there's a lot of vacant real estate there, and it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that is like just property people like saying it's too hard to get to open my business, you know, and I feel like I will help as much as I can.
We hear you.
I can't spend every night at a meeting. I'm just gonna.
No,
So I
it's
do
10
want-
o'clock, so let's,
Yeah, well, I do want to just make a comment just to help the process go forward. So, you know, I know that, you know, Richard and Scott have commented how they do think this is quite visually different. And one of the questions that, and I know you said it's corporate design and everything, which I understand, and I know that that is what happens. But one of the criteria that you should be considering is, you know, is it out of character with the surrounding neighborhood? And I just am saying, in case you have any sort of leeway, if you think that anything needs to be designed differently, muted or what have you, now's the time to speak it.
Yeah, I have no problem with it, and you look right behind you, you got Warren Cutlery, and then on the other side, you got the Chrysler place. I mean,
Yeah, but you have to look at the signs that they have.
yeah, the signs, I mean, I have no problem with this. Well, me personally, I don't have any problem with this new sign. I have a problem with the public not seeing it.
What you might have a problem with, if you take a look at what Warren has, which might be simple, 2 colors, one thing, Warren cutlery. This jumps all around with the red and the yellow and the black and the white. It may be out of character with.
Yeah, I mean, we get different opinions, and I don't really.
So I mean, if there is,
Who determines that? Is it this board?
Or-
Okay. And do you think input from the public, if it is circulated and no one complains, would that make it easier for you to make a decision to move forward, or are there things that you're going to request? Because
It always makes it easier when you don't hear the public objecting.
I mean,
That makes
there
it
have
harder.
there are municipalities that I've been to all of them. They'll ask for a less intense yellow or a darker red or something. If you know, without changing the brand, you can modify the intensity of the colors. So,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what I'm saying. If
that's
you want
something
anything
you had
to
to do in order
suggest,
to.
now's the time to do it.
You know, I
You
just,
can
but
see
you
it.
get saw it, that's the problem.
well,
Right.
But
You're
this way
looking
you
at it
guys
for
will
the
lose
first
a
time.
month, you know.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Think about it, we have
Yeah,
time.
perhaps you could
If it
always-
was less garish, you know, less red, less yellow, that probably wouldn't hurt, certainly, for the vibrant, as this year's there. But with that whole corridor, you got commercial signs, so.
there's no immediate neighbors, really. I mean, they're all shielded from.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So. All right, if there's any requests you have, you know how to reach me.
Yeah, I mean, just to say, I mean,
We'll do whatever
this
we
should, you
can.
know, this should be discussed in public, and
Yeah.
you are discussing it in public. You know, if you have suggestions to Gretchen, you can always maybe email it to Gretchen, and then she can email it to, just in case, I know corporate can be tough to work with, but in case you can try to
But
lessen it. I'm just anticipating when the planning board
what,
to be honest.
maybe we can get some, I know they're probably gonna want the same design kind of thing, but if maybe the colors are muted, that's always helpful.
So-
If they're not quite as yellow or red.
So let's say this was a compliant sign and I didn't have to go get a variance. The current process is, I submit a sign permit application, Brian looks at it.
It goes to planning board for a recommendation.
Does it? Okay. I just
Now-
wanted to
now
make
plan-
sure.
Yeah, so planning board doesn't have final approval over it, but they do have advisory approval. They can provide like a
And this will be,
referral, and it's a
they'll get to see
referral, and
this,
then
obviously.
the planning board may say, I think this should be this, and then Brian just
Okay.
decides what it is. So it would go to the planning board, and I'm just saying they may have a comment on it.
Because like all of the permits that I've done recently have been need a variance, so I don't know what
Yeah,
happens
so
behind
if you
that,
don't need a
so.
variance, it still gets referred to the
Okay.
planning board, and they can provide comments. that can
Okay,
be-
they can say, I don't like the way these colors. Okay, just,
Yep.
I just want to be armed with all the
Yep.
answers for
thank you.
tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow.
So, because I'm going to be asked.
Get
Thank
some
you.
sleep.
Yeah, oh, sleep, what's that?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Oh, great, awesome. And so you read the other, you just got out of.
You read one, I'll read one. What do we got?
So you're gonna read one, and he's going to, and that
Good night.
that's it, right?
I don't think we're reading Sedgwick.
Yeah, so quickly on Statsburg, they are, Statsburg is an unlisted action of the planning board. Planning board has not finished seeker, so we have to wait. Statsburg closed last meeting, they have 62 days. Next meeting, August 20th, would be 63 days. We've already spoken to Mr. Angel, who's given a
Right.
one-day extension, so we're just waiting for seeker, which hopefully should be done by the next meeting.
So we just have Oxley, we've taken care of Bathrick. So it's Oxley and T-Court. Those are the last two.
Those are the last two?
Yeah.
So you can take T-Court and then you can take Oxley.
Yeah, which one would you like to
Right,
do first?
whatever.
Okay.
Which one are we doing first?
In the matter of the area variance application of T-Court LLC, case number 1074. Now, therefore, be resolved based on all the facts described above, upon the reasoning described above as follows. Section 1, the ZBA hereby grants variances requested by the applicant, finding that the benefit of the applicant outweighs the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood community by such a grant. The applicant is proposing to build a 1 acre scale trade for residential use. Although it is a unique project, the project is for personal use and will not be visible from any public vantage point or neighboring properties. It also replicates what has been done on the property historically. The proposed section is being done in a strategic manner in which to incorporate the existing landscape and topography and avoid sensitive areas. Section 2, the granting of these variances are expressly contingent upon the following. The proposed structures must be constructed in conformity with the application and plans submitted, subject to any required changes from the planning board during the course of review. Section 3, the granting of these variances shall also be expressly contingent upon the applicant's full payment to the town of Rhinebeck of any and all fees and escrow deposits due in connection with the application in full compliance with Article 14, free reimbursement of the town of Rhinebeck zoning law. These variances shall not be deemed granted until all such fees are paid in full by the applicant. Section 4, the granting of these variances does not absolve the applicant from having to secure any other permits and or approvals. And Section 5, the area variances shall be null and void unless the proposed construction is commenced within 1 year of this resolution. Motion to approve.
Just one quick, before we motion, I just want to just confirm the site visit happened on May 17th. I believe that's what I
That sounds right, yeah, I was there and Brian,
Yeah,
you were
Scott,
there.
Brian, Joe, and Richard were all at the site visit?
Just Scott and myself.
Yeah, I think it was just the two
I
of
was
us.
not there.
Okay,
And Joe was not there.
okay, perfect, because you want to just put that in there? Okay,
Thanks for catching that.
okay,
So we're good.
so motion to accept with the changes made?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Okay, is any discussion we should have? Any discussion? I mean, I think it's pretty
No.
self-evident. It's a unique project. It's being done exquisitely. I mean, it's just amazing. Some of the buildings, the bridges, the actual steam engines are being constructed to this small size. They're real still steam engines. It's unbelievable. It's just very.
Actually, I thought they were searching out the train, the actual original train of Astor. They were buying parts from different ones all over the country. I heard that somewhere.
Well,
I don't know, but
I went to the roundhouse. They actually have a roundhouse where the trains are in, and they have the miniature trains, and they are actual. They've been manufactured just recently, and they're actual steam operated trains. Amazing. The whole thing is just.
I think we could all dream about something.
Well, I suppose we could, but hopefully I'll dream about other things. But no, it is. I mean, it's top shelf on it, so you know, I don't have a quarrel with it.
Scott?
Yes.
Richard?
yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Okay.
Take it away.
On to the final.
I want to just about this. This is the one that a neighbor wrote in a letter about. You know, I'm giving an okay for this variance, but they're going to build so close to my property, and their trees are going to be there. And what happens when my trees fall down on their house? Do you
Yeah,
know this letter?
it was a curious letter. Was that the fellow who actually
I
came
think
up?
he said he was.
Yes, that was Rudy. That was Rudy. So he asked me, he said, what should I do? I said, write a letter to the board. Where does that go? That's got to be I told him that has to be a discussion, in my opinion, between, you should write a letter with these people, and then you should come with an agreement that if anything happens with this.
So he did write an email, Rudy wrote an email, and Eric Rhinebeck did respond and explained pretty much what you had just said. You know, thank you for coming on the property. You know, we discussed that we would, you know, we'll walk the property with you and talk about any trees that maybe other neighbors would think. So, and then, so what I did was, you know, I mentioned that in the public hearing section that, you know, Mr. McIntyre raised concern. It's been addressed by the applicant that they're going to work together on the solution. And I did recommend, because we've had some issues in Rhinebeck in the past with people cutting trees that shouldn't be cut down. So I did recommend that before any trees are cut, that the applicant should talk to the building department just to make sure they don't need a permit for it. So that's how I handled it based on the discussions that are on the record. If you have any other suggestions, of course, please feel free to make it, but that's been addressed in
It's
this
fine. It was just a curious letter, and it was surprising because it was such a nice, pleasant thing. He comes out of the woods.
Yeah, no, he's such a good guy, but he all of a sudden you start thinking, wait a second.
Yeah.
But he's a good guy. Anyway, let me do this. This is a resolution of the Town of Rhinebeck Zoning Board of Appeals in the matter of variance application of Aaron Oxley and Eric Krancevic. ZBA case number 1073. Now therefore be it resolved based on all the facts described above and upon the reasoning described above as follows. Section 1, the ZBA hereby grants the variances requested by the applicant, finding that the benefit of the applicant outweighs the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community by such a grant. The applicant proposes to construct a 2-bedroom home and greenhouse at the rear of the property with a new driveway and septic system. This residential use is in keeping with the surrounding residential area. The previous home existed on the property. The proposed house is designed to be further back into the property and will be darker in color to blend in with the surrounding area. Section 2. The granting of these variances are expressly contingent upon the following. The proposed structures must be constructed in conformity with the application and plans submitted. Section 3. The granting of these variances shall also be expressly contingent upon the applicant's full payment to the Town of Rhinebeck of any and all fees, escrow, deposits due in connection with this application in full compliance with Article 14, free reimbursement of the Town of Rhinebeck zoning law. Free reimbursement of the Town of Rhinebeck zoning law. These variances shall not be deemed granted until all such fees are paid in full by the applicant. Section 4, the granting of these variances does not absolve the applicant from having to secure any other required permits and/or approvals. Section 5, the area variances shall be null and void unless the proposed construction is commenced within 1 year of this resolution. So are there any concerns, any questions?
No.
Without that, then I make a motion.
Just, again, just confirming that at the site visit June 21st, and I have Scott, Brian, Joe, and Richard on the
Okay, I
site
think
visit.
we're all there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Motion to approve, so I make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second?
Is it seconded by
Me.
Scott?
Okay, Scott,
Yep.
Richard,
Yep.
Brian.
Yes.
And with that,
Motion to
a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Steve, awesome.
Yeah, you too.